Hey guys, welcome back to another Weird Wednesday. I'm Ashers, and this is.
Hi, I'm Catherine, your friendly neighborhood paranormal investigator.
Oh my gosh, Catherine, thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm so excited.
I am very excited to be here. First podcast ever in my career. I'm so ready.
Oh, really? I'm taking your podcast cherry. Is that right?
Yes, it's popped. It's popped and it's everywhere.
Losing
Let's
your
go.
podcast virginity right here on Wednesdays We Talk Weird. I'm not surprised. It is a first for us. For me, I guess, because it's just me here and you. But anyway, how was your weekend? What have you been up to?
Oh, I've been working really hard. I've been making a ton of content, planning investigations, spending time with my son, and just trying to live my life and not let the anxiety take over. That's really all I've been doing recently.
Sometimes that's all you can do. Sounds
Mhm.
like you're doing more than me. I didn't really. Well, that's not true. I did do things this weekend. So I was a speaker at Mysticon at the Ravenswood Library in Ravenswood, West Virginia this past weekend.
Oh wow,
And
that's amazing. I'm waiting for my call for
yeah.
conventions. I'm waiting. I'm like antsy about it.
It'll happen. Yeah, it does. It takes a minute, but it does happen eventually, and then they don't stop calling it, which is fine too. But it's always really fun. I really like to get up close and personal with people that like me, like my content, or just like the subjects in general. I gave a talk. It was my debut presentation on the Men in Black this time around, which was a really fun topic. People enjoyed it. It was a good crowd. It's not always a good crowd. Sometimes I put jokes in my presentations just because, well, it's a good representation of me. I am a joke. So
Yeah.
it's, and sometimes they don't laugh. And so I'm like, oh, super awkward.
Oh, I know that
Um,
feeling. I know that feeling. My whole content started with first it was like, this is what I had to grow up with in a haunted house. And then it went to I dress up like a ghost for jokes. And some people are like, oh my gosh, this is hilarious. How do you like this is great? And then other people are like, why? Why would you do this?
yeah,
Fine, go touch some grass. That's what they tell
I
me.
have such a weird brand of humor as it is. So it can be really hard for people to be in on the joke.
Hmm.
But I shared, I was just talking about just even like my presentation itself, like, I've got the way I've got it set up is like in a timeline format. And the first ever alleged encounter with the Men in Black is that alleged first encounter. And then the second one is Albert Bender and his experience with the Men in Black, which is probably true, and that's my headline for it: a probably totally true account of the Men in Black. And it's just kind of sprinkled in there a little bit. So like those ones, I get people are gonna maybe chuckle to themselves, but then like when I tell my potential encounter with the Men in Black, um, I tell them that I found this person on Craigslist, and it's more of a lesson of never meet people off of Craigslist. Um, they really seem to enjoy it. So,
Oh my god. Yeah,
um,
that's some I've totally run into weird people like when I've been out and about and just been like, how does this happen to me? Like how is this a thing that has happened? And then I tell it later and people are like, that's not funny, that's terrifying. I'm like, no, no, it's hilarious. Please laugh with me. It's
right.
how I'm surviving at this.
Yes, this is how I cope with the trauma of everything that's strange. Yeah, no, I understand. But no, they really did enjoy it. They got into it. That was fantastic. There wasn't a whole lot of people there this year. Last year there was a lot, and then I think last year's weather, because I spoke there last year too about the Mothman, and last year's weather, it was really rainy outside, and this year it was a lot nicer, and they had like the street blocked off for like vendors and stuff. But I think that kind of worked against them because it's October, it's spooky season, and there's tons of shit to do outside right now.
Hmm.
And but that's okay. With the small group of people that there was, it was really fantastic. I got to have more of an intimate conversation with a woman by the name of Linda Sigmund. And Linda, some people know who she is. If you don't know who she is, you need to know who she is. Linda, at the age of 16 years old, back in 1967, had a Mothman encounter. She is one of the original Mothman experiencers from the Point Pleasant era. Not only did Linda have a Mothman encounter, this thing, and I didn't know this, and I've talked to Linda before. We're friends. I'd never really had a chance to really sit down and speak with her about her encounter until this weekend. This thing picked her up. It physically picked her up and put her in the car. She was outside of the car. Her and her boyfriend saw a UFO, and the Mothman, this thing comes and picks her up and puts her in the car. And that
You
doesn't
can't see my
happen.
face right now, but my jaw is on the floor. I would be
Yeah,
fangirling so hard. I would be
yeah,
squealing. I'd be like, "Oh my
yeah.
god, Mothman touched you!" Like that would be me all day long.
It was fantastic. It was really amazing to sit there with her and like I said, have that intimate moment where, I got to really talk to her. I knew she had seen it. I know a lot about her and her personal life. It's just that every time I see Linda, it's at one of these events, and normally there's 1,000 people there, so it's hard to get a chance to really sit and talk with her. But this time I got to, and it was really interesting because we're standing there, and Catherine, I don't think you know this about me. I saw the Mothman in 2016.
I did not know that. Please, oh my God, you should have been on my Scary Story Share-a-thon talking about seeing the Mothman.
You can do another one. You can do Scare-a-thon too. And
there's going to be one, there's going to be another one in October.
Oh,
just saying. Come hang out with us. We're a good time. I'm ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I saw it in 2016. And I saw it inside of somebody's house, in a room. It appeared in a room that I was in. And then Ron, who's from Wild and Weird West Virginia, he was there at the event too. So it's and Ron's seen Mothman as well. He saw it on the side of the road. And when he saw it, like the midsection of it was like missing. It was weird. It was like a top half and a bottom half, but the whole middle was like gone.
Ooh.
And so you have 3 different people standing there, 3 different Mothman experiencers with 3 entirely different stories, all seeing the same thing.
That's so paranormal though. That is so true into how it goes. Like there will be similarities between each like witness, but then there will be subtle differences between how they either perceived it or saw it in general. Yeah. And it's so fascinating to me how to match them up and like put them together. That is so wild. You're the first person I've ever spoken to that's had like a true Mothman encounter, and I'm here for it. I'm living. I'm alive.
We'll dive into it. One of these days. But yeah, so that was neat. This was the first event that I took my daughter to. I have an 11-year-old daughter, and she went with me, and she's not into this stuff. And, I initially took her because this is a more family friendly event. I thought that, she might like it. We were only going for the day and not the whole weekend. And so she went with me, and she was really bored, but she's 11 and she didn't have cell phone service in West Virginia. But I did, like, I gave her money and she got to go like buy what she wanted. And I was curious, like, what she was going to go. Normally my child, she's at such a strange age. If she goes shopping, I'm right there with her. And so I'm kind of influencing what she's buying, and things like that. So I had no influence on it. I gave her cash. I said, hey, go have fun. And she came back, and I thought it was adorable, the things that she bought. She bought a crochet mushroom, a crochet pumpkin. She bought a Mothman Christmas ornament and a Mothman magnet. So
my little one's only 2, so the only thing I know about him right now is he likes games and he likes to play on my iPad. He likes the color yellow, and I took him to Spirit Halloween because I'm Halloween for like my whole life, and I took him to the Halloween store, and we were walking around. I was trying to be very cognizant of the fact that I didn't want things jumping out and scaring him, but as we're walking around in costume, he's like, no thank you, I'm done. No thank you,
I'm didn't done. Have a good time? That's too bad.
I know, I have to rethink my entire existence now because my son doesn't like Halloween yet. I gotta work on this.
No, it's so hard to be a parent, let me tell you, because my daughter has even now at 11, like, she has no idea. I'm like, your mom, I say this all the time in the show, but tell your mom is so fucking cool and you don't care.
It's funny because when my son will he's used my phone, like, he knows how to use a phone. I didn't teach him. He just picked up my phone and started doing stuff. And I'm like, all right, this is not the weirdest thing I've ever seen. And he'll go on my TikTok and he'll just like look at my videos and be like, mommy. And I'm like, yeah, that's right. And then sometimes he'll watch my videos and go, ugh. I'm like, you're 2 years old. You better stop.
Rude.
You're so rude. But he's great. Like, he's so funny. He definitely like just does not understand because he's so young, and as he's growing, I'm just noticing what he's picking up from like my content.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh god.
Uh-oh, I done messed up. Yeah, it's I know. She was at some point, she was outside, and I like peeked out there and I saw her, and she's talking to this lady, and the lady does like spirit paintings. Like, she reads your aura and like the spirits that are around you and then paints them.
Mm-hmm.
And the woman's like talking to her forever. Now my child is 11, but she is a giant. People think she's an adult all the time. She's not. She's 11, and this lady's talking to her forever, and I know she's trying to make a sale, and my daughter's just like has no idea what she's talking about. And I don't know what they talked about, but she came in and she was so excited. She's like, I got you a new listener for your show, and she was telling me all about it.
Oh my God.
So that's awesome.
No, maybe when he gets
Um,
about 5 years old and he can form full sentences, he can just walk around and be like, "My mommy's famous. You should follow
right.
her on TikTok."
Yes, exactly. Use them kids,
Train them young and get them started, and they can help. It's
yes.
great.
Right. Get them jobs right now. That's when we go to like parent teacher conferences and stuff, she'll be like, oh, yeah, my mom's got a podcast. That's her thing. She's got a podcast. And, then the teachers want to know what it's about. And I'm like, it's about, well, like I told you earlier, buttholes and ball sacks. So
At my son's old daycare, they were like, "And what do you do for a living?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm a content creator." And then they found me and they were like, "Oh, well,
right.
now we have a famous parent." And I'm like, "Please stop.
Oh
Please
God.
stop."
I'll do stuff like so my daughter's in the Big Brothers Big Sisters program because she's an only child. I thought it would benefit her, and honestly, it's been great. I recommend it to everybody to look up your local Big Brothers Big Sisters because it's been awesome. But while we are, while there's like a whole interview process, and while I'm like talking to the people, I'm like explaining to them who I am and what I do, because like, they can't have like, not that I specifically have anything against anybody's religious views, but like a super crazy religious person is not going to mesh well with me in my life. Like it's not going to work.
I feel that 100%.
Right. And so I'm like, I'm like starting to explain it. I'm like, well, I'm like, the thing is that I do stuff on the internet for money. And then I'm like, oh my God, I really just said that.
Phrasing.
I say it all the time. I do stuff on the internet for money. And then I'm like, wait, not that kind of stuff. But I mean, I would do that kind of stuff if there are people paying for it. But wait a minute, hold on.
Not my followers encouraging me, and they were like, "Oh, just wear a sheet like you're a ghost, but wear fishnets. It'll be great." And I'm like, who in the actual internet is gonna pay for me to do this?
I mean,
and then yeah, exactly. I mean,
it's out there.
There's somebody who's gonna pay my bill, one bill,
well, at least one bill.
It'll be great. Just one bill. I'd be like, I've dedicated my life to doing this. I got one guy or woman who pays one bill of my life. Thank you for your service.
Doing the Lord's work out there.
Doing the Lord's work.
While you don your fishnets and your sheet. Yeah, it's, it's just whatever. Like I said, hey, if the market's there for it, make me an offer. But anyway.
$20, and everybody needs $20 once or twice in their life.
Hey, listen, that's what I say. Everything's got a price. I mean, it exists. So, so yeah, that's what I did this weekend. It was a great event. Of course, I'll go back again if they invite me back. It's always a good time. I really enjoyed it. So there is that. And then let me pull up I got a little bit of news, not much. There was some things happening this week, but I don't know, nothing that I just really wanted to bother with. But what I did find interesting is that the doorbell company Ring has announced that they are offering a $1 million reward for anybody that presents proof of alien life.
Oh, goodness gracious.
So their criteria is actually really strict. So you can't just dress up as an alien and send it to them and get $1 million. First of all, it has to be a being. It can't be a UFO. I've personally received some local Ring doorbell stuff from people in my neighborhood that we've had really weird things happen. Some of it you can see over on my Patreon, but none of it has actually shown actual alien before. They are looking for something biological, or at least hopefully, or not of this world anyway. And then you also have to present a case for how this thing is not a human, so you have to show it with some type of scientific data. And you only have until November 3rd to get your submissions in. So
wow, I know there's somebody out there that is just like running through the Ring camera like, I know it's in here somewhere. I found it. I saw the aliens.
Or just very clever hoaxers trying to
hey, they're getting better and better every year.
It's
every year.
It was scary. So I'm like, I'm prepared. There's going to be a lot. I mean, obviously there's a lot of people that aren't going to read the fine print anyway. We're going to have a lot of silly videos, which is I'm totally here for. But we'll also have a lot of people attempting hoaxes. So watch out for that. Of course, Ring is going to analyze the footage to make sure that it's not been altered in any type of way. It has to be an authentic original Ring doorbell video. So that's going to be hard. So anything you do, it has to be done with practical effects. So I guess this is the special effects artist time to shine. You guys get on it.
Hey,
Really.
if some of your friends suddenly become millionaires, you know why?
You
They
know
got
what?
the alien. They figured it out.
They figured it.
They got the perfect sauce of like special effects and practical effects, and they made it so convincing. I'm so ready for this. I'm ready for the YouTube compilation already. I'm vibrating with
There's
excitement.
going to be tons. Well, and but I'm kind of, the conspiracy part of me is really suspicious. Why does Ring want this, and what are they going to do with it once they have it? Do they own it once you give them the rights? Once you give them that video.
I stopped asking why corporations do things that they do when I started working. I was just like, this is my life and I don't want it to be, but here I am.
Fair. That's a good point. That's a good point. Well, clearly people are going to go out and buy Ring doorbells because that's another thing. I don't think you can catch it on your Blink or your, gotcha camera or whatever the fuck, your off brand is called. You have to catch it on a Ring. So.
I would have loved to have a Ring doorbell in my in that place that I grew up in, because weird stuff, not even like weird stuff in the sense of like, oh, aliens and ghosts and stuff. No, people. Just
yeah.
Some of the weirdest people things that have ever happened just because they walked up to my front door and were just like, hey, I live here. No, you don't.
So weird. We do catch a lot of weird stuff on these cameras now, and not just like you said, it's just people and
people doing weird stuff. And I have to wonder, I'm like, is that just your life? Because how did we get to this point? Can we have a conversation? I'm really curious. Did you see the one about the dinosaur recently? Someone caught a velociraptor on the Ring camera or something.
No.
Yeah, there's streets in there. It's all dark, and then you see this dinosaur run by, and I'm like, excuse me?
That's awesome.
It's I'm hearing the Jurassic Park song playing in my head as I'm like, okay, I used to have nightmares about this. Because I saw Jurassic Park in at the drive-in when it came out. Yes, because that was a thing at the time, and I used to have nightmares about velociraptors chasing me down the street, and I was like, oh my god, no! I mean, it definitely does not. It looks like CGI, but the comments on it were intense. They were like, I told you the dinosaurs are still around, and I'm like, who said that? Who's ever said that?
There's a lot of people that believe that. There's a lot of people that see that, potentially have authentic dinosaur encounters.
Dinosaur ghosts. I've heard it. Dinosaur ghosts.
So weird. That could be ghosts. It's probably not that dinosaurs live here, most likely, right? I mean, that doesn't make sense. But there probably is something to the phenomena. And so, what is interesting is that you'll get these people that report seeing these dinosaurs, and what they're seeing is exactly what you're saying. Stuff like Jurassic Park. Well, we know now in the year 2023 that dinosaurs didn't actually look like that at all. So
yeah, they had feathers and they didn't roar the way that we expected them to from Jurassic Park. And I remember Jurassic Park was very much dinosaurs evolved into birds, and everybody was like, oh, this is the 90s, sir. What are you talking about? Now yeah, all the dinosaurs had feathers.
Yeah, all the dinosaurs had feathers. Well, and I relate. That was my jam. That's what I wanted to do as a kid. I wanted to be a
paleontologist. Yeah. Yes, I too have autism. And a marine biology.
Jurassic Park. Yeah, marine biology. Yep, absolutely.
Yep. Every time, I remember Jaws. That movie, absolutely, because that unlike Jurassic Park, which I could say maybe in the jungles of the Amazon or really places where people don't frequent or don't explore, I could see maybe that being a thing. But giant sharks, absolutely a thing.
Oh, sure,
absolutely a thing.
Yeah, I mean, we've done an episode over here on the Megalodon, and what's crazy about the Megalodon, I'll say it right now, is that we have no idea what they look like.
No, we've been guessing for because they leave no fossils because it's all cartilage, just teeth.
Right.
We have size. That's all we've got to go on. And just to know for the fact that thing could have just swam up to you and you would have never known. You'd be like, wow, it got really dark all of a sudden. It's terrifying. And great white sharks can get up to 20, 25 feet.
Yeah.
And then people see a lot of basking sharks over the side of their Carnival cruise, and they're like, oh my God, it's going to eat us. Nope. It's going to filter the shit out of you though.
My theory when we did the megalodon episode was that potentially the megalodon is not a shark at all. It's a squid, right? A giant squid with giant teeth, but instead of like, you know what the squid mouth is like in between all the tentacles, right? It's not,
Right.
the mouth isn't there.
Mhm.
Instead it's like on the tip of the head, and like so
Mhm.
it's just a giant mouth with tentacles following it.
Oh my
Um
god.
because we don't fucking know. We have no idea.
Hey, there's a movie about that. It's called Sharktopus. Like,
Are you serious?
no, yeah, I literally one of my hobbies in life, because I have so much time on my hands, is when they come out with a new like really crappy shark movie, I have to watch it. So I've seen like Shark Avalanche, Sharknado is classic. We don't hate on Sharknado, but then like there was one about a shark that got possessed by the devil. I
Nice.
watched it. It was great. Yeah, like Sharktopus is the thing. And you just made me think of it, because it's like literally half of it's an octopus and half of it's a shark, and it just crawls around. It's just like the whole time. And I'm like,
That's the
this is
megalodon.
scientifically accurate.
Yeah, why not? We don't, like I said, we don't fucking know. We have no idea. And we just have teeth. We don't know. We're just assuming that they're shark teeth because that's what shark teeth look like and all. And like, I guess that's a sound reason, but we don't know. We have no idea. So it could be anything.
And we gotta guess. I mean, there's a whole shark that had like a rotating disc in its mouth of teeth. So like anything's
Yeah.
possible at this point. When God was absolutely on the bender of drunk, then they were like, yo, this shark though. And everybody was like, yo, man, come on.
What if
What are
it was
you
just like,
doing?
it's like a small fish, but it just has one really giant tooth?
Oh, okay. You know what? There is that fossil. It's like a fish, but it has just one tooth. But honestly, like sharks in general, like if you're on the plate, you're gonna get ate. I don't really go in the ocean that much. My favorite prehistoric creature is actually the Dunkleosteus,
Oh,
because
okay.
it's like 8 to 10 foot long fish with razor sharp jaws, and literally it would just open its mouth and it would suck you in and just razor you in half. And I was like,
Ooh.
that's dope. I hope like I never die and then my soul goes back in time. That would be terrible.
And then you die right away from
And then I'm like, oh wow, look it, we're in this prehistoric ocean. What's that?
death.
Starting from scratch.
Back to the 2020s again. Fuck.
As long as I don't have to start in 2020, I think I'll be okay.
2021 would be fine. Yeah, it's yeah, the ocean's scary, man. It is. It's horrifying, and there's a lot that we don't know about it. It's my obsession with it where it was I had a book about deep sea creatures, and you know, they're alive and well, and they're fucking horrifying. So
Yo, that's literally me in the morning. Like some of those anglerfish, man. I remember trying to explain to somebody about anglerfish and like the sexual dimorphism that they go through, and then oh
yeah,
yeah, the males just bite them and then they just live there, and they're like, what?
yeah.
Why do you know this? I'm like, because it's fascinating.
It is. It's so fascinating. It's so weird. You know, there's nothing like it on this planet.
And there was a time where we didn't know the giant squid was like real. Like we knew it existed, but we didn't have like proof. And when
yeah,
I was in school, I was like, I'm going to become a marine biologist, and I'm going to be the first person to photograph one. And I went to Christian school, so that was my first problem. And my teacher was like, those don't exist. And then I remember when they took pictures of it, there was
right.
that Japanese scientist that actually
Yep.
got live pictures of it. And I sat there and I was like, take that, Mrs. Bradford.
Yeah, and then PBS came out with that whole documentary about the colossal squid after that, and they're like, "Oh, guess what? This isn't even the biggest one. We got
Oh,
bigger
were
ones."
you afraid? Be more afraid. I actually did watch that. They did a autopsy on one, and I
Mhm.
watched it from start to finish, and I was
Yep.
like, this is awful.
Yeah.
There's no safe place.
Yeah, they're massive. It's really hard. And the fact that we don't see them, and these things are like 50 feet long. I mean, and that's not an
And they're
exaggeration.
thick.
They're
Like
big.
the,
Yeah.
the giant squid is like fast and lean, and the colossal squid is chunky and just big.
It's
Like
fucking larger
you
than
could
life.
you
Yeah.
could like knock somebody out with that thing if you threw it. Like it's pretty massive. And when they were like, oh yeah, we finally found the giant squid, and then they're like, and then we have, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. We have a round 2 going on. What is happening?
Right. So
God stop.
I don't know what the next one's, the mega squid. I don't know
Is it
what
going to be the super colossal awesome squid? Like, and it just comes out of the water. It's like, what's up, homies? And then gone again. Like, I'm not ready. I'm not ready yet.
yeah, they're
not ready.
horrifying. They're very, but I know, I love them. I mean, that's that's a big case for cryptozoology right there. That was a big fucking deal when we discovered them, and just like nobody really refers to it ever. And it's like, why, you guys? That was important.
Yeah, and then like with cryptozoology, generally speaking, like I'm a firm believer in Bigfoot. I mean, like I like literally got on a soapbox on a live stream about it because I was like, listen, you don't understand. There was a giant ape called Gigantopithecus. Like
Mhm.
it lived in the Chinese Alps. And who's to say that it didn't migrate out of there when things started to warm up a little bit too much? Like, we don't know for sure. It could be a line from that. It could be a derivative, just like humans are a derivative of a, like, there's a main line and then everything kind of branches out from there. And then we become what we are today. I was like, that's possible. And a friend of mine actually does, he works as he does preservation for remains in museums and things. And
Oh, cool.
I threw this all over him. He also has like a biology degree, and I was like, "Bah, bah, 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 bah." He was like, shut the fuck up. He didn't even listen to me. He was like, it's not real. Like, let it go. And I'm like, no, I
Oh,
will fight you on it.
that's unfortunate. You should look up Dr. Jeff Meldrum. He is an anthropologist who does believe in Bigfoot and says that yeah, it's probably real.
As I've met a lot
Um,
of psychiatrists who also believe in mediums.
Yep. I
So
mean, there are people that do have that are educated, that do believe and do actually put research into the stuff,
mhm.
which is awesome. And everybody should definitely give those people your support because their colleagues sure aren't.
Ugh. You should always, like, no matter if you're going into a scientific field, and I've as somebody who like goes out and is like, oh, I'm doing science. I'm not. Like, let's be real. I'm not doing science. I have a methodology that is giving the evidence or giving a pathway for ghosts to be able to communicate to some degree on a in a like, and it could be about anything,
Mhm.
but I wouldn't call myself a scientist. However, like, I also understand, like, our brains do really wild stuff,
Yes.
and pareidolia is a thing, and there's
Right.
so many different factors that you have to think about in that. But like, if somebody's like, I'm a science and ghosts aren't real because I said so, and I'm like, you shut your mouth, don't
Well,
ever speak to me or my son again. Like,
right. That's just not how it works. That's not how science works. You have no you have facts, but you have no absolutes.
mhm.
And the fact that some people do treat it like there are absolutes is insane. But then there are people that will take what I said just now and then try to build a case off of things that are like clearly not fake. Like clearly you just want to believe it so badly that you're going to tell yourself that, what you're experiencing or whatever is not real. Not that weird things don't happen. It's
Mhm.
just there are a lot of people that man, they want it so badly.
Yeah, and like part of my whole job is that I'm supposed to prove that there aren't ghosts
Right.
first before I
Yes.
prove that there's ghosts. But I also, like, one of the biggest arguments that I make, when every once in a while you'll get that guy and they'll be in their chat and they're just like, oh, ghosts aren't real. And they're like, because science says so. And I'm like, well, half of physics is just guessing.
Right.
So who
Changes
are you
everything.
to, you're going to look me right in my eyes right now and you're going to tell me, like, I don't know, like, theoretical physics exists? Like,
Right.
seriously?
Right. I know. Well, and it's well, uh, I'll get on my soapbox for a moment. Most of it is because you're a woman and
Yes, I'm
because
very aware.
you are confident and because you are not afraid to be
Mhm.
you. And that's just it. That's it.
They cannot handle my high femininity, but
Yes.
if I have to do it, if I have to, I can tell you about yourself. It's totally
Right.
fine.
Right. If you need me to pull that bitch out, I will.
I gotta pull my balls up or put my tits down. I'm not really sure, but I'm ready to fight. Like, let's go.
Either way,
Like, either way, we're gonna get into this, and I'm going to make a
it's going to
point,
be
and you're gonna
Julie
hear my
Palms.
point. I'm also really, one of my favorite phrases to use when somebody like interjects themselves really fast, when I'm just being like, oh, let me explain this in the way that I would explain it. It's, I am so sorry that the middle of my sentence interrupted the start of yours.
Right.
That's one of my favorite things.
I love that. Well, before we start getting into your experiences in the world of the community, go ahead, just tell people who you are, what you do, just the basics.
So, my name is Catherine, and I am a content creator who has also been a paranormal investigator for 15 years. I also have mediumship abilities. I do TikTok, YouTube, I do educational videos. I am trying to teach people how to ethically go out and talk to spirits, how to conduct themselves in their spaces. I am very much I'm collecting the evidence from these things and trying to map out the understanding of what maybe we thought ghosts could or couldn't be to what ghosts actually could be and do beyond the scope of just touch this ball and make it go off.
Sure.
And I've been doing content creation for almost 4 years now, and I've built a really great community of really great people, very open-minded. they like to ask me a lot of questions, and they like to keep really great conversation, which is awesome because like I love going out and I love acting silly. You know, I love getting a ghost that's going to curse at me and me being like, I'm right here, bro, let's go.
Yeah.
But I also like, you know, the consistency of going out and being like, wow, like these are things, these are experiences that I've been like consistently having and experiencing, and people are experiencing them with me.
Yes.
And that's what I love. I love being able to share experience and validating other people's experiences, because half the point of dealing with experiences generally is that you feel really alone. I've met so many people over the last couple of years who've just been like, I've been living in this situation and I just don't know what to do. And I found your content and it made me feel better. Or people are like, you helped me not be afraid of death because of how I approach things. And that's, I can't ask for more than that at this point, you know?
Yeah, I agree with that. You know, I didn't go into this with a sense of community personally. I didn't understand that there was a community to be had because it's such a tiny subject, right? But, you know, once you start kind of talking to people and, you know, gathering their stories, and you talk to people that don't share their stories with everybody, you know, they definitely exist. You know, you start to realize that, you know, you kind of become therapist in a way to a lot of these folks.
And I, you know, with the work that I do, I also do like mediumship consultations. I do paranormal investigation team teaching work and stuff like that. I'm always very very cognizant of the fact of the differences between I'm dealing with something spiritual to I'm dealing something mental health wise.
Right.
So I'm very aware of that, and I'm very cognizant of it, and I'm very not shy to talk to somebody, be like, hey, I know you're here for this, but like that is not the direction we're going in, and I want you to be in a better headspace to talk about this. So let's talk about this another time.
Yeah. And you have to be able to approach that in a very in a way that is not condescending to the people experiencing it. You know, which can be, I believe it's hard to do for a lot of people. You have to be able to talk to people. That is a very important aspect of it, and come from a place of caring and understanding rather than, well, you're just crazy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because, you know, as a creator, people feel comfortable that they can share certain things with you. But there's also a boundary as a creator that you have to like watch for when it comes to like what people are sharing. Because I don't want people to feel like they have to just put everything out there for themselves to feel listened to.
Yes.
I want them to feel confident that there are people who are listening to their experiences, and that they just feel seen. Like that's my whole goal with like when I do like scary story share-a-thons and stuff. I'm like, I want you to be in a group of people that have absolutely had similar experiences and will absolutely back you up. Yeah. And it's been so great, because it just makes me feel better knowing that people have found me roundabout ways, and then they come in and they're just like, wow, you really make me feel like this is a safe place to be. And I'm like, oh, thank God. Because that's the biggest thing. Because like when I was growing up, I didn't have that.
Yes.
So I was in the shit all the time, every day in my childhood home. And I was just like, what do I do about this? Nobody believes me. And then I was like, here, have my trauma, guys. Do you want to hear about this? And they're like, yes, we do, more. And, you know,
share it all with us. Well, that was going to be my next question. How did you get into this?
Jesus Christ. Okay. So I grew up in a house that was aggressively haunted. And I do not use that word lightly. It was aggressively haunted. My parents bought it in 1981, and this house was like abandoned, desolate, destroyed. And they saw this house in the middle of this town, and it looked like something out of like literally every horror movie, where the white people are like, wow, this is a great place to live. So they go there, they see this house, and they're like, okay, yeah, sure, we're gonna buy this. Even though like my mom had said, you know, it felt really eerie in there. And I was like, oh, did it? But then you put in an offer, because you were too entranced by the crown molding around the ceilings and the 12-foot ceiling vault and the fact that the plaster walls were just so cool. Like, what is wrong with you? So they bought this house and they fixed it up. And then from the time they bought it, systematically, neighbors would come over and be like, oh my God, I can't believe you actually bought this house. Did you know that it's haunted? So many people died here. And they're like, ah, shit. So they'd had like weird things happen, and then I came in the world like ta-da, oops, like here I am. And like I apparently had things happening when I was a baby because my parents would hear people talking to me through my baby monitor, and I would just be like, blah, 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 and then they
Oh,
would be like
wow.
talking to me.
Hmm.
And this is before like we had a phone in our pocket all the time because this was the
Right.
90s. And then after about 95, I had like my first experience where I was hearing a voice out loud that was not my mom. And I kept trying to get her attention. I'm like, what do you want? She's like, go to bed. And I'm like, but you just said you needed my help. She's like, go to bed. And then it just escalated from there. There was like shadows and voices and music and slamming doors and stomping feet and full bodied apparitions and a shadow person tried to choke me in my bedroom in the middle of the night.
Wow.
Nightmares galore. Um, there were so many things that happened in that house, and I got to a point where I was just like, I am losing my mind because my mom was like, you are absolutely schizophrenic. There's no
Right.
doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
And I've gotten assessed several times. I actually recently got assessed again, and I am not schizophrenic, and I have paperwork for that. So the next time somebody comments that on my TikTok, I'm gonna be like, bam, here is my assessment.
I
Thank you
get
very
it.
much.
Yeah, I get it.
Um, and a lot of that conversation also comes to you had sleep paralysis. There was carbon monoxide. It was radon
Right.
gas. You're making it up. And I'm like, I wish I was. I really wish I was. And I've never suffered from sleep paralysis in my life. I can account for 2 occasions that I ever actually hallucinated. And that was when I was on sleeping pills because I couldn't
Gotcha.
sleep. Um, my entire family had experiences on the mediumship side of it. I'm also like having even higher tiered experiences because they know they can talk to me. So it
Yeah.
just never stopped. And then there was a pastor in town, a pastor of all people came to our house and was like, I'm writing a book about town being haunted. And I'm like, dope. You want to come over? So he comes over, and then I'm telling him all these stories about ghosts that I've talked to. And my poor sister's sitting there and she's like, how in the actual frickety fuck do you know any of this? Because all of this stuff happened before I was born. These
Wow.
interactions with spirits happened before I even existed. And I was like, oh, it's because they told me. Very matter of factly. And then he went up in our attic and he noped out of there really fast and left.
He was like, this is too much for God to handle.
Yeah, no, he wasn't Catholic, so there was nothing he could do about it.
Oh, fair.
And then when I turned about like 17, 18, I had a friend who knew somebody whose dad was a paranormal investigator. And I begged my mom, I was like, please, please, please let them come in here, please. I just need to know that I'm not crazy. She's like, fine. If they come in here and there is nothing to find, I'm going to send you somewhere. And I was like, okay, bet.
Going to
So
the ranch.
I'm going to the ranch. They're coming in the truck and they're taking me away. And I remember talking to him on the phone and I was like in tears and I'm like, listen, my guy, I really just need you to come in here and experience this and tell me that I'm not losing my mind. He's like, dope, let's go. They come in and they got so much shit. They got so much shit.
Wow.
The wildest EVPs of stuff that I actually had heard with my own ears, like an arguing couple in my basement. I ran into them many, many times. They were actually a pain when I was trying to do my homework because they were constantly like bickering with each other. The voices in the attic, the voices like around the house that they would catch, pictures, they got pictures of light streams moving across the house, and we tried really hard to figure out like what happened, how did this happen, like can we debunk this? We threw glow sticks. I like put on blue nail polish with flashlights to try to make this like recreate this, couldn't do it. And they were like, yeah, so yeah, your house is haunted. And I was like, oh, cool. And then my family's like, what do you think? What do you think, Catherine? Like our house on. I was like, no shit.
I know.
I've been here the whole goddamn time.
Told you so.
And then after they came in, what the wildest thing was, after they came in, I got a phone call from Animal Planet.
Oh,
And I got to
okay.
be on Animal Planet's The Haunted because
Oh.
um they got the pictures that came across their desk and cold called me, and then they came out and filmed for 3 days, and I was featured on Animal Planet's The Haunted back in 2019.
Wow. Did they did they film at the house?
Yes, they filmed at the house.
So did you have any say in the reenactments or did you Watch what they did.
Yo, I have so much tea about this. If you
my
want to
God.
hear about this, if you want my perspective, I am so down to just rip some band-aids off about that. I've talked about it a couple of times, but like I'm so here for it.
I mean, you're on a recorded line right now. If you would like to do it here or later.
Oh my God, yes. Okay. So like let me tell you something about paranormal TV shows like this. It's kind of silly because I did like 3 hours of interviews and they like I very much stuck to the timeline of things. And then the big focus was like there was a rumor about the house. Like at the time, all we knew was the house used to be a hotel. Eventually, we found out there was a bar in the basement, and then there was like some whispers that it used to be a brothel. That's all we knew. And Animal Planet was like, "Oh, it's a brothel, you say?" And that's what they decided to go for. They kind of framed it as like a fun, hip place for the old elite to hang out back in the day.
Oh gosh.
They didn't even use the good EVP on it. I got to meet 2 stunt dogs. One of them never made it on the show. Her name is Daisy. She was very cute, and the other one was Ernie. And like we were like the way they cut it and the way they framed it, and then like all the other episodes, which blew my mind. All the other episodes were about the family themselves in the house.
Right.
And in my case, they were like, "No, we're going to talk to every fucking neighbor you've ever had." They went out and like interviewed all of my neighbors to ask them about the haunting in town. And I was like, this episode could have been an hour. And they made it seem like I was just a little silly, goofy mood the whole way through. And I just like, I'm really glad I had the experience. They brought a shaman in to bless the land and stuff because the land that my hometown is on used to actually be part of the Lenni Lenape tribes land, part of the Algonquin tribes. And they were forced out by William Penn's kids. Mm-hmm. And then settlers started coming in and basically were like, this is ours now. And they started digging up the land. And then in the town, about 10 minutes down the road, which the town I grew up in used to be a part of, they dug up a lot of bones. And they were like, oh no, well, let's not waste them. And they used them to mark out their property lines to build their houses.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. And then they took all the bones. Nobody knows really for sure what they did with them, but they're pretty certain they either burned them or put them in the river.
Ooh.
So the shaman that came in was from New Mexico, and he had come from a specific tribe to help bless the land for us to help with the spirits. The problem was though is that he blessed the land, which really helped a lot, but he didn't do the house first. So all these ghosts were like in my house, and they were really upset with me, and they were pissy, and it was the worst 3 months of my life because they were loud, and because there were some of them that could go in and out, but then they were like, "We're stuck, we can't leave. What is going on?" And I'm like, "I don't know, my guy. I'm sorry." It was a wild experience. Like. They really wanted to frame it a very specific way, and they really wanted to have a certain narrative about it. And I was like, you could have had a much better episode if you had done it differently. But again, like the experience was fine. Like the people were really, really great. My own personal cat actually got used as a stunt cat. There's a story I tell about my cat getting kicked down the stairs, and they actually threw my cat down the stairs like 17 times.
Wow.
Her name is Bitch Kitty. Her real name was Gizmo, but she was like not a nice cat. She like wrecked me many times, but she really loved the Australian producer that came in with the show. And she was all up his business. And he was like, I'm going to use your cat for the stunt if that's okay. And I was like, whatever, man. Do what you got to do.
Okay, but can I throw her? I'm just kidding.
No, yeah, she should have her own IMDb page. I do, but it says Catherine Self. I'm legit. I got my own IMDb page.
I know. I've got one too. It's nice. It's like, oh look, I'm somebody.
It makes me feel cool. Like I'll look that up and be like, you see that? Mm-hmm. That's me.
Legit. I know, right? I think that every time I Google myself, it's, and I do it every once in a while just to see what pops up. I'm like, oh my God, look, these are all actually me, except for like maybe 2 links. I'm like, no, that's not actually me. But the rest of these, that's me.
Yeah, I did that recently. I was Googling myself and I'm like, what cool stuff am I going to find? I was like, oh, it's just my TikTok and my YouTube channel. Okay, cool. No famous birthdays or nothing. I'm not cool enough for that.
Here's your social media. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then my IMDb page. I'm like, oh, okay. Well,
oh my God. Here's an article I wrote for the newspaper like 6 years ago. No, more like 16 years ago. Time is not real. I wrote a lot of stories for the newspaper during Halloween. We actually got spots on our local news channel because they were like, oh my God, we're going to come over to your house because it's haunted and we're going to do a spot for the morning. And I'm like, what time are we starting? They're like, oh, like about 4. And I was like, I hate you. Like, legitimately, I'm not a morning person. So they were like, we're going to be there at 4 a.m. And I was like, oh, okay.
I get it. No, that's awesome. I didn't know. What episode are you on? Do you know the season and the...
So it's season 1, episode 10. The episode is called Leave Now or Die. And I am the second half of that episode. A lot of people get confused when they start watching it because they were like, that doesn't look like you. Who are these people? I was like, that's not even my family. It's the second half. I used to have a timestamp too because we used to watch it on YouTube all the time.
That's awesome. So is the house still, is it owned by you guys still?
Yes, it is still owned. I still own the house. My mom passed away and we got the house because many blessings upon us.
Gotcha. Understood. Well, interesting. But you don't live there.
No. I know better.
Does anybody live there?
Yes, actually, family lives there.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Are they still having weird experiences?
They don't really talk to me about that because they know that I'm gonna show up there with all my shit.
They're like, you don't come in here with all that shit, okay?
Yo, no, dead ass though, because I was like, can I come in and do an investigation? And they were like, no. And I'm like, I won't live stream it. I just want to know. And I did one day put a recorder down in my basement while I was hanging out there just for funsies, you know. And I did get an EVP because my basement's really busy. And the EVP was like this deep, raspy voice. It was like, here. And it said, welcome home, cat. And I lost it. Oh, I was like, oh no, I hate that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm just going to leave now.
It's so creepy. And I'm like, you guys really know how to work your audience. I'm like so impressed by the ghosts down there. Like, they just know how to do it just right. Nice and crisp. I love that for me.
Gosh. It does sound, actually, you were talking earlier about how there's the couple that bickers all the time. And that's got to be like, honestly, a personal hell is to be stuck in a house with a toxic couple.
Yo, okay, so wild story. So I used to do my homework in my basement before the scarier ghost came around and started creeping me the fuck out. And I used to like, because I'm clairaudient and I could like perceive them like with my ears, I would just hear this man and woman just being like, well, my mother was right about you. Well, you're a stupid bitch. Like that's the kind of fighting that they would do all the time. And I was like, can you guys please like literally shut the fuck up? And then I told my mom about it. I was like, there's people fighting in the basement. She was like, are you okay? And then an EVP they got when they investigated the house was a man and a woman having an argument. Literally, you hear this woman going, stop it. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm tired of you, Harold. So we had a name and a couple arguing for a good minute and a half. That's and awesome. I just looked at my mom and I gave her the eyes and I was like, told you. I'm a fucking told you.
Because like that's legitimately authentic. Like you get all these ghosts that are like, they're all from the 1800s or earlier. And, you know, none of them are like modern day ghosts. And like that actually fucking checks out. Like that tracks. That makes a ton of sense.
They actually, so the ghosts range from about 1850 to 1920 there. Okay. Harold and Hannah, and I know that it's Hannah because I accidentally found an article of Harold buying my house. He was a mystery owner I did not know about when I did all the research. It took me 3 years to find everything I could about that house. And even still, I'm missing so many pieces of history that I really, really need to put it all together again. Yeah. But it's Harold and Hannah, and they owned the house. And I remember like how I saw them, how I heard them, like the way that they spoke. And I was like, the time frame matched to what I drew when I drew them out. And like the way they were speaking made sense. And then I was like, I feel so actually fucking psychic right now. Oh my God. I was so excited.
That's awesome.
It was a really good time. Like doing the research really helped validate a lot of things because I actually was able to match up names that I had heard through like perception to people that actually lived and worked in that house when it was running as a business. So I was like, oh God, like Edward and stuff like that was the name of the full-bodied apparition that was like, I'm gonna choke you out in your sleep. The name that came to mind when it came towards me was Edward, and I was like, who the fuck is Edward? Later I found out that a manager that used to work there, his name was Edward Lear, and there was some rumors about him that he was just a not so savory person. But a lot of that town's history is really just rumors and hearsay and things like that.
Well, is it a small town?
We have there are less than about 750 people living in that town currently. There's more dead people than living people.
I think that's the case though for all of humanity, but maybe not yet. But no, I understand what you mean. This is in, I'm not going to ask you exactly where, but it's in New England. Is that right?
No, it's in Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense too. You said Algonquin, so I just instantly.
Yeah, it's like Algonquin stretches from like the upper parts of New England all the way down past Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Gotcha.
And they were like smack dab in the middle of it all. And that town, like, it's so funny because the town itself was built next to the river, which floods. And I just find it funny that the people that decided to build the town were just like, this is a great place to live. And then the tribes that remained after they were exited out were like, I wouldn't live there if I was you. And it flooded constantly.
Yeah, that is 100% accurate. That's exactly what happens all the time. The tribes didn't really settle a lot of times in areas that were part of, right off the river because of that reason. They're just not good places. They're not good homesteads. Usually they use them to like travel.
Yeah, we had the river. It was the ground is really fertile, so it's great for planting. You've got the river that goes all the way up to New York and then all the way down to the ocean. That's the Delaware River that it's by. And the problem with the Delaware River is that it's very suspicious. Like, when it comes to rivers, it's one of those that has really, really deep parts that are going to sweep you down. It's got a really bad undercurrent, but there's also parts that are completely shallow. So when they were coming up with boats, they were like, we capsized a boat again. What is going on? This river's trash. And then gave up trying to send anything anywhere.
Yeah. Well.
They were like, we stole this map to find goods and services that we would like to steal. Ha ha ha. Oh, we can't do shit with this. I guess we're going to have to leave it here. God damn it. Like, that's literally what happened though.
Yeah, it is interesting when you track all the history that supernatural history, and you compare it to the waterways that are in the area. My big thing is obviously research along the Ohio River, which is where a lot of weird things happen, constantly. So Native American lore, the one consistent thing, you have all these different tribes. People are like Native American, and it's like, no, hold on. Native Americans are all different. They had all different culture, all on this one chunk of continent, right? They all had very different beliefs. That's why if you look at something like very popular, the Wendigo. Mm-hmm. Different tribes have a different version of the Wendigo. It's not exactly the same thing. Sometimes they look a little bit differently. Sometimes they're just spirits. Sometimes they're physical beings. Whatever. It's not the same thing. What is the same consistently so far that I found across all these tribes is that they all have the same belief about water. And that water carries evil in it. And they will wash things in order to rid themselves or rid their items of the evil, because they do believe that it cleanses, but then they believe that the water then carries the evil away from them, goes somewhere else. Now we know water is cyclical, right? It's all the same water. So I guess that's just to assume that water is evil. And just much like we were talking about earlier in the episode, you should probably just stay the fuck away from the ocean and stuff.
Yeah, just stay the fuck away from the ocean. Like, literally, it's salty from the tears of sharks because they just want fucking hugs. But no, it's so, like, it's interesting because the Lenape don't have a lot of their beliefs and practices written down. And that's what I've noticed from doing a lot of research. Now there are probably avenues that I've missed in that. So I'm not saying, there isn't anything. It's just that I was unable to find anything that I was looking for. However, you make such like a good point, because there are a couple of different like creatures that are a part of their their tribal understanding, that you would lend itself, like you would think, oh yeah, that seems like a Wendigo, but it's not.
It's not,
And
right.
it's like one of the experiences, like I used to investigate the cemetery in town all the time because who's going to stop me? And I always, every time somebody would walk up to me, they're like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm mourning. And they were like, oh, okay. They just leave. And if they pressed it, I'd be like, my mom and dad are buried here. Can you please give me some privacy? And they're like, oh shit, I'm so sorry. And I'm just like, hey, I'm actually talking to this nasty ass ghost. Like, that was what I would do. Silly, goofy moods. But we would get a lot of whistling. That's something we would get very consistently, like on the S box, in EVPs, like whistling songs, just whistling for the hell of it. And everybody would lose their mind about it because they were like, we know what these are. And I'm like, no, you don't. Don't ever say that in my chat again. I blocked the word in my chat at one point because I was tired of seeing it.
Oh gosh.
Because they were like, oh no, it's that. And I'm like, it isn't. Please stop. Please don't ever use those words again.
Yeah, it is interesting because, you know, also Pennsylvania is, well, guess what? Part of the Appalachians, and we love to talk about that on this show.
Oh,
and,
yes.
You know, I did a show. I recorded a show like last week. It's probably not going to be out, you guys, until like the beginning of the year. But they wanted me to come on and talk about the squonk. And here's the thing about the squonk, is that it's not real, right? It's part of lumberjack lore. And we know that a lot of lumberjack lore is not real. However, I was talking about different characteristics about the squonk. One thing that it does is, it cries all the time because it's so goddamn ugly.
Yeah, and I'm the squonk. I'm sorry to break it to you. I'd be out in the hemlock forest. I'm just like, oh my God, I can't even deal with this right now.
Yeah. And so, you know, that's what it does. But here's the thing about it, is that disembodied cries in the woods is not unusual. That is part of the phenomena in a way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So some of these, some of these lumberjack lore, there is something to it, right? So like they'd get the new guys on, they'd tell them this horrifying story of this terrifying creature, and the guys would be scared shitless. Or they'd say that to locals wanting to live in the areas that they're logging, right? They're like, oh, no, you can't live here. There's a horrible monster here. And then you'd hear the cries from the woods and be like, see, it's a horrible monster.
See, it's a squonk. It's ugly as shit, man.
Yeah, you don't want to see that. It's gross. Looks like a ball sack. And
ball sack with tears just here. I'm so sad. I just want somebody to hug me.
Like, I got your squonk right here. They pull out their balls. I told you we were going to talk about ball sacks.
I'm here for it. I'm here. Yeah, the squonk does look like a ball sack with legs, though. Like,
doesn't it, though? Yeah.
Yeah. Like the another name I heard somebody call it. Oh, you mean the PA ugly pig? And I'm like, the what?
Oh,
actually, I want to say I have a friend, and I just want to say she's obsessed with squonk, and I hope she listens to this because she's going to be so excited.
Good. Yeah.
It's funny. I actually didn't live that far from the hemlock forest that the squonk supposedly hangs out with. Actually, what's really hilarious is that the town that I grew up in is within 3 hours of every major haunted spot in Pennsylvania on the eastern side.
Aren't you lucky?
Gettysburg, Philadelphia. There was Ringing Rocks National Park, Hexenkopf Rock, Hexenkopf Road, which is haunted. Constitution Road. All of like the town I grew up in was like the epicenter, and then everything was around it. So like I just couldn't get away with it.
I'm in Ohio, so I understand. It's just weird here, and it's just weird in every fucking state all around us.
Literally though, like it's so funny to me because with Pennsylvania, I've had a lot of people from the West Coast that have asked me like, why is the West Coast not as haunted? I was like, well, people have lived there, but they've lived there. It's a different kind of America over there, and like what its length of time is, like how imprinted it is versus like our side of America, which has been around for a minute and a half for no good reason. Right. Yeah. So like Pennsylvania being absolutely fucking wrecked with ghosts does not shock me. New York and Virginia and North Carolina and Massachusetts. Like,
yeah, right.
I've been to the second most. I've been to like 3 of the top 10 oldest cemeteries in America, because that's my jam, homies. You ever want to meet up, I'm totally down for it. And it's like when you go, like you feel that energy in the other, you're just like, Jesus, this is ancient.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, that's what I say when you get into, I say that to everybody, when I go to West Virginia, It is a shift, a complete energy shift. And at first I just thought maybe it's because it was new, it was exciting, and like the Mothman's there. I'm gonna go see the nice the shiny hiney. And so, but it's not. It's just something about the air of just some of these places is so fucking different and weird.
I'm just in this position now where I'm like, the more that I've traveled to different places, and like I've been to some of like the famous haunted places that TV shows have been to, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ on a crutch. Like, what is going on here? Because like it's so varied, but it's so varied, but it's also like so not different at the same time.
Yeah.
And there's some consistencies that I can take when I go to like when I'm going to Gettysburg versus going to St. Augustine versus going to North Carolina versus going to Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also like it's the attitude of the spirits themselves that changes as you go.
Do you think that they're annoyed that people are using them as a tourist?
Yo, get real close right now. Get real close right now. Absolutely. I can't even tell you. So one of the things that I do when I investigate, I don't go like, how did you die? What's the most traumatic thing that's ever happened to you? Did your father kill you with an axe? No, that's not my game. My game is I go and I'm like, hi, you want to hang out? I brought cookies. You want to talk about stuff? Like, I'm real chill about it. I'm just trying to get them to be comfortable enough that if they want to talk about something, we can talk about something.
Yeah.
And I have had I've dead ass asked many times and I'm like, hey, this very specific paranormal investigator has been here. How do you feel about that? Not good. I've had ghosts in S-Box or in EVPs or in my favorite thing is Phasmabox. They've said like, are you going to yell at us? Are you going to be mean to us? Are you going to be rude? And I'm just like, oh my God, what's happened to you guys?
Right.
And it's very consistent through like the bigger famous haunted places. The outlier is Old Jail in St. Augustine, Florida. But like Gettysburg was one where I went to the Tilly Pierce House Inn. I've been to the Gettysburg Orphanage, which woof. Oh my God. And the Jenny Wade House. And generally speaking, the feelings and the responses were very much like, are you going to be like all the other investigators? We really hate doing this shit. Like, this is getting old. Another night of fuss. Like, this is the attitude that they have. And I feel so bad. I just like, I'm like, yo, are you okay? Like, how are you feeling? Are you all right? Can I help in some way? And that's kind of what I've been trying to do. Like, almost therapy for ghosts as I go travel around.
Oh, you're, oh my God, you're the dad from Casper.
I am the dad from Casper. I will stake that because he was kind of hot, low key. But like,
yes, yeah.
I'll put on the glasses and I'll put on the cardigan and just be like, so, do you want to talk to me about why you feel it necessary to haunt this space?
Yes, you should. You should be like, I'm here to help you be free.
Are you feeling like nobody's really seeing you anymore? Like, that's gonna be me.
Yes. That's awesome. Now you can tell everybody to start calling you daddy. So
they already do.
Yeah, same.
Or, mommy sorry. It doesn't happen often, but when it does, it makes me feel good.
You're like, oh, I have power. I forgot. So you're saying that the ghosts talk shit about these people?
Oh, absolutely. Okay. Ghosts talk so much shit. Like, they have said, I cannot, like, if I can be specific about whose name I've heard the most, I have heard reference to Zach Baggins many times.
Oh, they hate him.
Oh, with a passion.
Well, I mean, I can relate. So
yes, no, I know. My whole thing is like, he is the biggest face of paranormal investigating.
Yes, right.
He is the representation of the community. He is what people want to be and want to emulate.
Yes.
You can't throw a rock without meeting a paranormal investigator that's like, I'm going to have a TV show. And I'm like, that's cool, my guy. Right. You are the 15th person to tell me this.
Right.
And there are some people out there that like really should have their own shows because it's just their personality is really great. But like, he's like the patron of it.
Yeah.
And it's just getting out of pocket at this point where he's just
Yes.
like, he walks into a place, he's like, this house is haunted by a garbage bag. And he's like, oh, the garbage bag is possessing me. I'm like, bro, take it off of your head. No, did you not learn this when you were a child? Like, I don't understand. So it's not ghost investigations anymore. It's
No.
entertainment.
It is.
And I do get those people sometimes that are just like, why don't you do it like he does it? I was like, because I'm not an asshole. That's not how it goes. That's not what it's like.
No, it's not.
You can't go to one place one time and be like, oh, there's demons in here. No, literally shut the fuck up.
It doesn't. That's what I tell people. I'm like, listen, they're like, when I tell them what I do, I'm like, look, I'm a 40 investigator. I investigate all of it. They're like, oh, that's great. I love that. I'm like, yeah, but 98% of the time, nothing happens.
Yo, I had to explain that to people so many times. Like, I've been to my cemetery multiple times. There are times when absolutely nothing fucking happens. Yeah. And then there are other times where it's like, oh, I'm going to die tonight. Like, yeah. It really just depends. But like, that's why I went to Paracon not too long ago. They were hosting it at Pennhurst State School and Hospital. And I got to meet the ghost hunters. Oh. And that was a big moment for me. Sure. Because I'd been watching them for a really long time. When I was going through all the stuff in my house, I was like, I just want to call them so bad. I know they'll know what to do. And I got to meet them in person and hug them and talk to them. And it was the most incredible experience because I still reference back to them all the time because I'm like, they always kept it real. They would always do it in a way that it's realistic to how it actually is. They're like, hey, we were here for like 17 hours and not a fuck happened. Yeah. So I don't know if it's haunted. Like, that was the attitude. I loved it.
Yeah. It's all, it is nice when people are, actually forward about it. But, honestly, it doesn't make for good television. I tell people all the time, I could make shit up and I'd be baller too if I made shit up, but I don't. So
but let's be real. Most of it is like, there is a story of a lovely lady who was murdered by her husband in the night. Right. And it's like, no, actually not what happened. But that's the story that sells and gets the views. Mm-hmm. Yes. And I get that. I understand it. But I don't look at paranormal TV as a way to learn. I look at it as, oh, cool. And I'm done.
Yeah, right. I don't watch really any of it anymore. Of course I used to. I think we all kind of had that interest at some point, right? But I don't. So every time I think about these shows, I think about this very specific memory, and I don't know what I was watching. But it was something about Bigfoot, and so there's some guy on there, and I think he's like some type of Native American. I'm just honestly, I'm assuming. And he's, they're out there and they're like interviewing him about his Bigfoot encounters, blah, blah, blah. And he like made a note to like talk about how much they smell. And everybody knows that, right? Bigfoot smells really bad. That's like one of the things. So they're out in the woods and they're like filming. And the guy just stops and looks at the cameraman and he's like, you smell that? Stink. I'm gonna that it lives rent free in my head all the time.
So I'm like just gonna walk outside in the morning and be like, you smell that? Like, oh my god, no! Like, Finding Bigfoot was my favorite show for a really long time because there was that one guy on there. He's like, "This is my Bigfoot hunting dog," and it was like this tiny ass dog that's like going out in the woods with him, and like them yelling out in the dark and stuff. And I was just like, this is dope. I would so totally do this. And then like really, like I have a thing about woods because they're really easy to get lost in. So I'd be like, I'd be out there, be like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go camping. But I wouldn't even run into fucking Bigfoot. I'd run into a fucking ghost. I swear to fucking God.
Oh, so I see you were also traumatized by the Blair Witch Project. I
really loved that movie, but I can't watch it as an adult now, and not because it's too scary for me. No, it's because it makes me seasick.
Nauseated, yeah.
The scene with Cloverfield too. I couldn't watch it. I felt so nauseous afterwards, and it made me sad.
I know. Yeah, if I do watch, I'll give it a watch every once in a while because it was so groundbreaking and traumatizing to me as a child. Because I genuinely thought it was real. So I'll put it on, but I won't like watch it. Like it's in like I won't look at it.
You know what movie really fucked me up? There were two. There was A Haunting.
Okay.
That was a really great movie.
With,
and then
in the Big Mansion.
Yes, with
Yep.
Liam Neeson, Catherine Zeta-Jones. I like love that
Mhm.
movie. That was definitely Catherine Zeta-Jones awakened something in me that I still don't understand to this day. But I watched that movie and I was like, oh wow, this seems really true to my life. And then The Others.
I've never seen The Others. Is
The
that
Others will literally mind fuck you.
Mm.
Cause I watched it in my childhood home with my friend, and I literally walked away from that movie going, am I the one that's dead? Am I the ghost?
Ooh.
And I
Ooh.
had like an existential crisis about that movie for a minute, because it was very much like into this idea that like they were living and then they weren't, and then the ghosts were actually the new people that were living in the house. If you've never seen The Others, spoiler alert, I'm so sorry, but the movie's been out since like the 90s. um and then like I was like, it helped kind of build a theory for me as an adult doing the paranormal investigation and like the research and stuff, where I'm like, what if it's not that like it is death, like you are no longer on this mortal corporeal plane, but you're in another plane that's like an alternate dimension that overlaps, and like that's why residual spirits are so fucking confused when they're like, I'm just getting my coffee, like who the fuck are you, what are you doing in my house?
Interesting.
Because they
Yeah.
legitimately don't like, residual spirits are not like they could be a piece of somebody, like a residual piece of a person that just didn't move on. They could be somebody that just felt more comfort in the space that they were in, and then when they had the opportunity to go do absolutely fucking anything else, they decide, you know what, no, I'm gonna stay here. But not every residual spirit is just like a shell. There's some of them that like need assistance to get more cognizant, to become the kind of spirit that every ghost investigator wants to get, which is the one where you're like, oh, what's your name? And they're like, my name is Bobby and I murdered my entire family. They're like, it's Bobby the murderer.
Yeah.
It's so much more than just the basics. Like I feel like Zach Baggins didn't get with the times, and he's still working on the big four, which was, it's either intelligent, residual, demonic, or it's a poltergeist. And literally like, no, though. Not from my experience.
Sorry. What do you think about people that claim demons with a lot of the stuff?
I have a lot of questions.
Ooh.
I take any claims I will take seriously, but I always warn people. I'm like, look, if you're going to come to me and we're going to have a conversation about what it is you're dealing, this is the same thing as if somebody came in and was like, I believe I have a spiritual attachment. I'm like, all right, I have 50 questions I need to ask you first before we determine what's going on.
Right.
With demonic hauntings. First of all, one of my biggest things is, are you trying to tell me that demons have literally fuck all nothing to do? That they can just chill in a place for fucking ever? That's number one. Number two, I do think that people have this misconception that once you die, everything's fine. And in my experience, in the evidence that I have gathered, that is not the case. I've met a lot of spirits that are either they're stuck in a trauma, they're stuck in a moment, they're stuck in an experience they had or something that they did, and they can't let that go. And that's why they're just like chilling in the cemetery, because they're just like, well, you know, I wasn't a very good person and I'm afraid I'm going to go to hell. And I'm like, oh man, that sucks. What if it's not real though? You should just try. If you want to, that is. So like, I think people feel like when they feel uncomfortable, they're immediately like, it has to be a demon. And I think that runs a little bit deeper than just the idea of media. Media plays a big part in it.
Right.
But it's also that long-term like satanic panic church influence.
Yes.
And Catholicism with exorcisms and stuff. And it's, you know, I do think there is some very specific mindsets that we're just never going to be able to break out of. But as long as you can look at it in a broader spectrum than just, I don't feel comfortable, so it must be demonic. I've literally met a ghost that he's called me every name under the sun. He has called me a bitch. He has called me an asshole. He called me a fat ass. That was the most offensive thing he said to me. He said he was like, you're a witch. I had another ghost that was like, I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you. I'm going to kill you. And I was like, do it. I'm right here. Let's go. But they weren't demons. They were just dudes that angry were dudes. In a mood.
Yeah.
They needed a Snickers. Like I could have brought one, but like and I've had a lot of people insert their opinion about it. Like, especially with like experiences that I've had and like places I've traveled to. I had a ghost like literally in my audio say, we're demons. And I was like, no, you're not. Get out of here. No, you're not. Because it's such a rare occurrence. Like in my 15 years, and I
Yeah.
speak with experience, 15 years, I've never run into a demon haunting a house or
Yeah.
a person or a place.
Well, and that kind of goes along with my own theory. I notoriously, personally, don't think these things are dead people. And when I say that, I said that one time at a paranormal convention that I was given a talk at, and the whole room gasped. And I'm like, well, hold on now. You know, why should we believe anything that these things say to us? You know, right off the rip. You know, whether or not they are claiming to be demons or people or whatever. I mean, the fact that like you instantly trust them. Oh, I'm Uncle Harold. Oh, okay. Well, I'll take your word for it. You know,
Oh yeah, no, I know. And it's what's really helpful for me though is that like when I'm balancing like doing that side of it where I'm sitting
mhm,
there and I'm like, what is the S box saying? As I'm listening
right.
to it, it's like I was like,
Right.
they said they think you're an ass. Like, you know, there's
Yeah.
also the mediumship aspect of it. And I do like doodles of things, or I'll write down details, things that I'm
Right.
feeling, things that I'm seeing to kind of match things up. And I don't take shit at face value. I'm going to ask you 15,000 questions.
Right. Right.
You're
Try to
saying you're this
try to catch
person.
it.
I'm checking my fucking sources on you. Like, let's
Right.
go.
I'm gonna do my background check. Well, exactly. I mean, you don't sit down to interview a person and then you know everything about them and you know that they're being truthful just because you interviewed them that one time.
You also don't sit down with somebody and go, "Hi, wow, it's really nice to meet you. So, like, I heard you had a really terrible childhood. Tell me all about that." You don't do that.
Yeah,
Like,
no.
and then you wonder why they don't want to fucking talk to you.
Right. And then they're like, I'm a demon, go away. I
Yeah,
mean,
literally, I think that's why they say they're demons, because it's like people go in and you got to understand, like with haunted places, and I'm sure you understand this. Generally speaking, going to haunted places, everybody goes in there and asks the same questions
yeah,
every single
all the
time.
time. Yeah.
They're going in, they're like, "Oh, what year did you die? How old are you? What is your name?
Right.
What is your favorite childhood thing?" Like stuff like that. They are done. They are tired. They want
Yeah.
something new and exciting. And that's when I come in to the effect. Like I've been doing this so consistently now. I walk into places that I've never been before. Nobody has said my name since I walked into the door. And I will get S-Box, EVPs, Phasma Box responses of, "Oh, Cat's here. Oh, hey, it's Cat."
Well, so you get a good word on the street in the spirit world. Is that
The
what you
AOL Ghost Edition is talking about my ass.
That's
And
awesome.
this has now been in like 1, 2, like 3, 4 different places now that I've been to where I
Yeah.
walk in and I'm like, "Hey, everybody, how are you doing?" They're like, "Oh, it's Cat. Cat's here."
Oh,
I'm like,
finally.
"How the fuck do you know who I am?"
They want your TikTok. It's
Oh,
fine.
oh my god! Apparently, that's really cool. They're just like this bitch is making fun of me.
It's so funny because you're talking about like, you know, these same people come in and they ask all these same questions and then, you know, the response is, I'm gonna even go away. And, you know, as a woman on the internet, as a pretty woman on the internet, I relate to this so much. I relate to these ghosts. I think I'm going to start using that line from now on. I'm a demon, go away.
As a woman on the internet, as a woman who does what, okay, let's talk about demographics here, because
Sure.
in the paranormal investigation community, I did the research on this, so I'm not making this show. I didn't pull this out of my asshole or from my balls here. Like, I looked this up. It's white men between the ages of 30 to 50.
Yep.
Usually they do it as either their full-time gig or they'll do it as part-time. A lot of them have worked in security or as police officers. And they usually have a very specific political affiliation. And then you've got me that's coming in looking like a little goth snack who's just
Yeah.
like, "Hi, I'm here to talk to the ghosts." And
Mhm.
I've faced it. Like, I've been out and about. I've talked to people. I've talked to other investigators. Some are really cool and some are not.
Yeah.
Some talk to me like I'm a complete fucking idiot. I go to places, I'll go in a place by myself, literally bet, like, don't even play. I will literally, you're like, that place, that room in there, that's where that ghost likes to like punch women specifically in the fucking face. And I'm like, let's go meet the face punching ghost. Let's go. And I'm in it and I'm there and I'm like, let's go ghost. And then it like, I've gotten the like, oh, you know, I don't see how you could even want to do something like that. Women
Mhm.
can't be investigators because, you know, they're soft in like constitutions
Right.
of everything. They get so scared. And I'm like, bet I literally had a ghost threaten to kill me. And I said, do it. It would do me a favor. And
Yeah.
then they stopped talking to me.
Right. Yep. So I had somebody, I want to go to Bobby Mackey's Music World really bad. And
Yo, let's go.
go.
I will go with you.
Listen, it's only 40 minutes away from my house. I want to go. We were supposed to go. So I've told this story now, I think every week since this happened, but I'll tell you because you don't know. I broke into the MUFON Symposium a couple weeks ago and and attended their cool exclusive event. And we were in Cincinnati, and Bobby Mackey's is like right up the road. So we're talking about what to do afterwards because the MUFON thing was actually super lame. No surprise there. And they were talking about going to Bobby Mackey's, and then my historical researcher, she was like, "I'm not taking you. It's a country bar. You're dressed like an alien. I'm not taking you to a country bar." Just like an alien. And I was like, what? I want to go. So because I've been telling that story so much, somebody that listens to the show messaged me and was like, don't go there. It's very serious. We've had some, he's a paranormal investigator. He's like, we've had some people that have had a lot of trouble. We had to get the Catholic Church involved at one point. And I'm like, my guy, all you did was just make me want to go even more.
Literally, you could not convince me not to go with those words.
Right.
Like, you said every perfect word for me to be like, all right, bet.
And that's what I was like. I mean, I would kill to catch that kind of evidence. Like, that'd be awesome.
Yo, that was old jail though, because they warned us like before we walked in there. I was at an event for somebody else, and I was the investigator. And there's a guy that runs it. And he was really nice. Like, we're friends on Facebook. It's chill. Like, he's a really cool guy. But he was talking about like, oh, priests ran out of this place and people have cried and pissed their pants and shit their shorts. And I'm just like, oh, cool. Awesome. I'm fucking ready. Let's go.
Write another pair of shorts. It's fine.
And then like I stand up and I give them some insight, and I'm like, this is what you should be doing. Don't go places by yourself. If you feel uncomfortable, walk outside. If you don't know what to do, or if you're feeling a little confused, if you feel disoriented or anything, come find me. I'm here for you. And we get in there, and those ghosts, I tell you, they live for this shit. Like, we got so much good shit, creaking shit and talking, them trying to be all big and try to scare us. And we were just like, wow, you guys are doing really well. You're very communicative. And they literally were like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
At one point, one of my favorite things, one of the 3 favorite things was they were the ones that said, we're demons. And I was like, you're demons. All right, then. Cool. And then there was we don't know specifics about you guys. We really would like to get to know you better. And they said, we're angels. And I was like, bullshit. You're not. No way. And then the other was like, you hear a legitimate scream come out of the speaker. And then you hear another voice that says, good scream. And then, was it? And then we were like, that was a really good scream, clapping and shit. And then you hear, they didn't run out. And then a little later you hear, they're fucking it up. Because they were not expecting us to be so fucking chill about it.
Right, exactly. And that's what I was telling. I was, kind of talking to him, or kind of talking about, who has a worse experience, because you do have skeptics, I mean, on YouTube that go to these places and they fucking dare the ghosts to do anything, and they don't, right? And they'll be like, come at me, dude, I'm here. If you like to hurt people, hurt me, and it doesn't happen. But then you also hear on the flip side of that, like, about people that are really terrified that are just completely haunted, and maybe it has to do with their constitutions, right? They're just not strong-willed enough to be able to fight off the demons or whatever. And we kind of got into a whole conversation about that, and I don't think it's necessarily either of those things. I don't know. I mean, do they want you to be terrified, or do they want you to be intimidating to them?
It really depends on the place.
Yeah. Well, right, exactly. Just like when you interact with people.
Yeah, no, like, I've been to places where the ghosts were like really chill and they were just there. And what the process was just proving that they were still doing things while they were in that space. And then in other places, it was very like, we want you to know that we're here. Like, we're here for the show. We're here to do this. Like, we are here to make our presence very known. But it all really depends on the place. Also, like, what kind of people go there? What kind of energy is going into it? How many investigators are going in there all the time? How many people are going there with going on tours and stuff? And a lot of the time, like, people would assume I'd be like, oh, skeptics, gross. No, gross. Don't even talk to me. No, I love skeptics.
Yeah, me too.
I think skeptics are very needed in this community because they keep us humble.
Yes, absolutely.
Because there is a lot of like,
bullshit.
Bullshit. Yeah, exactly. I can't even tell you how many times I get tagged in like a poltergeist video, and I'm like, and what am I supposed to do with this?
Right.
And I don't want to, like, people wanted me to react to like haunted videos, but a lot of them, it's like, I know exactly what happened here. And I feel like I'm going to disappoint everybody when I'm not like, it's a
Yeah.
ghost.
Exactly. Well, people ask my opinion on stuff all the time. And, I tell them it really doesn't matter what I think at the end of the day. But, I think people get confused that you want legitimate evidence, right? So you are here for legitimate evidence, but you also, like you said in the beginning, the first step of your job is proving is disproving it.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you can't, that's when it's exciting.
Well, what's interesting though is, there are people that'll go out to some places and be like, oh, well, clearly it's not haunted. Nothing fucking happened. And I'm like,
Right.
Did you tell them how to use what you brought with you?
Yeah.
Did you explain to them how the fuck a REM pod works? Because that shit's annoying as fuck. Did you let them know, like, hey, when you're listening to SBox, nothing came out from the other end? Did you like say to them, I know it's really loud, but just speak louder? Also, something I discovered, ghosts. So this actually happened with Phasmabox, which I found very fascinating. I have the audios of it still on my computer. What happened was like the ghosts were talking and Phasmabox was picking it up. And they're just chattering to each other about what are we going to do next? Like, how are we going to get them to stop laughing at us? Like, we don't understand. And then you hear another voice that says, you're talking out loud, think. And then you hear, oh, I am. It's like, I can hear you. You're not thinking.
Oh my God.
So there's like, clearly there's something going on with like them being able to project things with what would be essentially their mind.
Right.
And then using their mouths. When you use an SBox, they have to speak out loud with their mouth. Because SBox does not pick up like
your thoughts.
The thoughts. Mm-hmm. But Phasmabox does. And there was topical conversation about it between the ghosts of like, don't say things out loud. You're telling them all of our plans. Think, don't speak. And then with SBox, they'll think and then they won't speak and then nothing comes through. So you really have to take that time, not in a condescending way, but like you have to explain when you go to places like, hey, so this is what this is. This is what it does. This is how it works. All you have to do is this. And it'll kind of give us an indication if you're here, if you're comfortable doing that. And you would be shocked about how much of a different reaction you get when you take the time to just be like, hey, this is how this works. It's like, oh, I'm just going to hand grandma a fucking iPad, even though she's never seen one in a day in her life, and be pissed off at her because she can't figure out how to open Gmail. Like,
right. Grandma doesn't know how Flappy Bird works. What the fuck's wrong with her?
She doesn't even know she has a password. Like, her password is 123. Why am I still alive? Like, I don't. Like, you're talking
she doesn't
about,
remember if there's capitals,
but then also like, why is everything haunted by ghosts from a certain time period? And I'm just like, well, I don't think it's impossible that there could be ghosts of Neanderthals and dinosaurs, but also, that would all depend on what your belief system is. Because I believe that souls eventually will go on to something new and become a whole new thing. It'll still be like the same soul origin, but it's going to be a different person or a different thing.
Different vessel.
Yeah. So like, you get some people that get kind of lost along the way and then they're just like, why am I still living in this house? And what the fuck are these lights? Like, Yeah. So yeah, it makes total sense to me, especially with like, when you're thinking about it in the essence of like the buildup of colonization and things like that. What time periods were people coming in and like, who was there before? Right. And what is going on here? Because like if you go, I've heard like you can talk to ghosts in Greece from like, ancient Grecian times. Mm-hmm. Whereas you can go to like England and talk to ghosts from the 1500s, where like in America, it's going to be more like this, maybe like the late 1600s to like the 1900s.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah. Like that's kind of the way that I look at it. I'm not surprised that that's the case. But I'm living for the moment. And I tell you this because I've said this to my people as well. I was like, I can't wait for the day that I go on an investigation somewhere and I hear a ghost say, it's Britney, bitch.
Oh my God.
I'm going to lose it. I'm going to lose it. I'm so ready for that moment for me to get a ghost that actually was like a person who lived within this modern time frame of
you can relate to,
the 90s to the 2000s. Like I really am excited for that moment. Like I can't even, I love talking to ghosts from like the 1800s when they're like, what's that? And I'm like, it's a computer. A what? But I'm also waiting for the moment of like, hey, do you have any games on your phone? Like what kind of phone is that? I have a Motorola Razr. Like that's what I want. That's what I need.
I'm like, can we take a selfie?
Oh my God, let me take a selfie. Like, I need this. Like, I really do.
Yeah.
I really hope that happens for me one day.
Yeah.
And every time I put that out there, it's like I manifest it and eventually it will happen. And I'm literally going to lose it. I'm going to be on my TikTok and I'm just be like, yeah, it's finally my goals in life have finally been reached. I can quit. Like, this is what happened.
That's the peak. It doesn't get any better than this.
It really, like, at this point, like, I've experienced so many things, and I've, like, from childhood home to the work that I've been doing to doing all the social media stuff. It's like at this point, like, I have very small thresholds of things that would like really make me like beyond thrilled. Like, when it comes to my work, I'm just like, yo, if a ghost just was like came in this place and was just like, oops, I did it again, I would be so happy. Instead of being like, I died from tuberculosis.
You have to start going to places like April, anywhere from like April 25th to like April 30th, and then when you show up, you're gonna be like, it's gonna be May, and then just wait and see what happens.
I've really tried this though. Like, I really have. I've gone to some places where I'm just like, if I sing you, do you know who the Backstreet Boys are? And they're like, I died in 1935. Like, damn it.
Not yet. That's not this one. Well, you got to go to some. I think maybe some modern places. I don't know. What did we?
I did see a ghost at a Walmart once, and I was like, what the fuck?
Well, right. I mean,
I was standing in the makeup aisle too, and I just like literally was a corner of my eye moment, and it wasn't the aisle; it was like a person, and it was. I have a really wide peripheral, but it was like right in like the corner of my eye line, and I saw like this older woman standing there, and I turned, and then she disappeared, and I was like, what have you done in your life to haunt a Walmart makeup aisle? Like, I genuinely want to help you move on if that's what you need to do.
This is actually hell. Like, you are actually in hell right now.
That's also something else that I could mention. Like, don't like let me emphasize this for everyone listening today. Do not, for the love of all things fucking holy, which I barely believe in, don't go to a haunted place and be like, I'm gonna send them to the light. What fucking light are you talking about, man? Right. Like, what belief system does a person work in? Like, where do they know where to go? Do they know where they want to be? Do they know who they want to be with? Like, don't be just willy-nilly out there being like, I'm going to send this ghost to the other side. And be like, what fucking other side?
Right.
You have been there? I mean, shit, I don't know. Anything's possible at this point. So, like, don't do that. Like, unless you've had a conversation, like, if you can get some actual, like, if you're going to go out and investigate and you're like, I really think this ghost needs to move on, have some evidence to back that up before you just start being like, I'm going to cleanse this house. Because you know what's probably going to happen? They're going to pop out for a little bit and they're going to be like, well, shit, I have been displaced. And then they're going to come right back at some point because they have nowhere else to go.
Or go to someone else's house.
Yo, okay, so that does happen sometimes, but it really depends on what it is. Some people get a little too attached to where they are. So like they can be popped out for a bit and then come back later. And then I get a phone call later and they're like, the ghost is back. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I told you. Like, I warned you this was going to happen. And, you know, when I'm trying to help a ghost move on, I'm like, do you remember your family? Do you remember your favorite place to be? Like, think about that and just go.
You have to, well, and just like with anything, like if you are let's just put it realistically, if you're a therapist, right? You don't just, again, people don't just come to one therapy session and you're like, oh, okay, well, this is what you need to do to heal. And then they don't come back ever again. You have to build a rapport. It takes a while.
Oh yeah. When I do consultations for like mediumship work and stuff, I'll be like, hey, like these are some tools, because I'm very big on like, if you're going to be using your brains to do the perception stuff, it really helps to have some tangibility behind it to some, like, so you can have a visual of what you're working with. Right. And then sometimes sometimes it'll come back and be like, oh yeah, I did it once and it didn't really work for me. And I'm like, cause you only did it once. Try like 4 times and then tell me about it later. Right. Like, but I also get life is busy too. So like, sure. I give everybody the advice of like, if you want to work on your skills, like if you're trying to work on your perceptions and you want to learn to talk to ghosts, like the cool mediums on TV do. I'm not a Teresa Caputo, I swear to God.
She follows me on, well, I guess it's X now.
Oh, well, that's cool. I get blocked by everybody. Like,
I understand that too. I'm also on the flip side of that. I get it.
I dead got blocked by a Catholic priest because everybody kept tagging me in his stuff and was like, you should have a debate about demons with this person. And he was like, no, I'm just going to block them. There's also another famous paranormal investigator that I will refrain from telling their name, but I had a live stream where somebody asked me about them specifically, and I was just like, hey, listen, like, that is not my bag. I think the way that they're doing things is a little unethical. And then I checked later, I was like, that motherfucker blocked me.
Oh my
Like,
gosh. I have a feeling I know who it is. We'll talk about it later.
We can talk about it later. No, like, I think in the paranormal community, generally speaking, it's hard to be have constructive criticism.
It is. Yeah.
Nobody accepts it like for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yes, so when it comes to evidence, the burden of proof is on you.
Right.
It's not on the other person to just cave to believe you. You have to bring the evidence forward to bring the proof. So when somebody challenges you, you can't just fucking cross your arms and stomp your feet and be like, but I saw the ghost. Like, you can't do that. If you want people to take you seriously, if you want people to actually consider your evidence, you have to back it up. Like, what have you done? What work have you done behind it? How many times did you have these conversations? What other kind of evidence can back up what it is you're talking about?
Right.
And it's so difficult because I openly share my stuff with people. I'm like, hey, I got this really weird EVP. Look at this. Hey, I saw this. I don't think it's a ghost, but I'm going to share it with you anyway. Give me your thoughts on this. I'm very open about it because, like, part of the process is to learn and grow and to hit different levels. And it's we're very, like, as a community, very protective of the places that we frequent, very protective of evidence, don't really want to share it, don't really want to, like, support anybody trying to come into the community.
Right.
Because, you know, more investigators means more people want to be on TV, and nobody wants that.
Everybody wants to be on TV. Yeah.
Everybody wants their TV show. And like, realistically, like, likely not. Right. I always said, like, when I started doing this, I was like, if somebody called me and was like, hey, we would love for you to audition, or we'd love to do this with you, I'd be like, all right, cool, bet, let's go. But it's not like something that I'm actively like, oh my God, if I don't get on a TV show, everything I'm doing is worthless. No, because I am educating people, and I have found great purpose in my work. And I'm totally fine if you want to come up in my stuff and be like, this is trash. I'll be like, cool, thanks for sharing. I appreciate your input.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, and you have to, you know, that's the thing about it, is that, you know, people, you're right. People cannot take constructive criticism, and they take it personally. And it's like, well, it's not personal. You know, I'll put stuff out there and I'm like, hey guys, I don't know what this is, but it's a weird thing that happened. Decide for yourselves. I will put stuff out about my podcast. I'm an investigator first, podcaster second. You know, I'll ask people, hey guys, what is it that you don't like about the show? What can I change? I mean, I'm not the one that has to listen to it every week, right? So what do you guys want me to change about it? And, you know, of course you'll have the people that are like, oh my God, it's perfect. And you're so perfect. And I love you. Have my babies. And I'm like, okay, that's weird. But then you have the people that are like, you know, they'll be like, oh, that's so noble of you to want to try to, you know, figure out your flaws. And it's like, isn't that kind of, though, like, isn't that how you perfect your craft? Like, isn't that how you get better?
That's literally growth as a person. Like,
yeah.
Like, I get it though. I mean, I ask people, like, what do you want to see? What kind of experiences do you want to have? Like, what can I bring for you that you would enjoy watching?
Exactly.
Because I've arranged, man. Like, I could do it. Like, you want me to do a whole, like, acting skit about being a dead person? I do that every damn day. Let's go.
Right.
You know? But it's so interesting because it's like, as I've been doing this, like, the funny thing is, like, the hate that I have gotten, which is very minimal at best, has never been about my evidence or about my work or about the ghosts or anything like that. It's always been, you're ugly. And I'm like, I know. Thanks for pointing that out, Captain Obvious. I really appreciate that. Thank you for your input.
Right.
Because then, like, I started posting on Reels, and I've been posting my skits of me dressing up like a ghost on Reels, and they're ruthless over there. They're just ruthless.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to have a really thick skin, and it's like, what is this? You know, really? I mean, you know, I understand. I get stuff all the time, and it's like, that doesn't even make any sense. Somebody called me a Walmart cryptozoologist one time. I don't know why.
Do they even
I don't
know
know
what that means?
I have no idea what that means.
Oh, no, but they should have been, you're a great value, cryptozoologist.
I might make that into a t-shirt. That I love that.
Feel free to steal it. Feel free to steal it. I have no copyright over this.
Great value cryptozoologist. Yeah, I like that a lot.
Cryptozoologist. Can you get a picture of like another cryptozoologist and be like name brand?
Well, we'll have to think. I'll have to think of a good brand to put on them. But yeah, no, I mean, you know, and it's like, what? I mean, but with no like argument, like why? Like, what is that? What are you referring to?
Sometimes hate comments just make you raise your eyebrow and be like, "Are you okay? Like, are you doing okay? Have you drank enough water today?"
Weird.
You know,
Yeah.
like I get a lot of the comments of like, "You're crazy, you're schizophrenic." The one that I got on my reel recently was just like, somebody's off their meds, and I, you know, I'm the kind of person that's like, oh, well, I'm just gonna delete that. I don't really care. Like, I have no qualms. I'm just gonna delete your comment because I don't need to see it and I don't really care.
Exactly.
But it was like much later in the day that I had this brilliant response that I should have used. I was like, do I want to be this guy on the internet? But like when they were like, somebody's off their meds, I was gonna be like, how did you get here from the YouTube Kids app? And I was like, and now I'm really struggling because I'm like, if I do get hate comments, do I want to be that guy? I don't really want to be that, but I'm funny as shit, and I really don't want to be that guy.
I know. It's so difficult. But some of the stuff you get is insane. I like literally somebody threatened my life just the other day. Threatened my life because there was an alleged picture of a Bigfoot, and the way that they were walking was, you know, when they raised their foot, then they bend the knee behind them, right, in like a 90-degree angle. And, you know, they were like, well, it's obviously real because humans can't walk like that. And I'm like, humans can't bend their knee? And he's like, no, it's not possible. I'm like, my guy, I'm doing it right now. Like, I'm saying, like, you bring your foot up, and then instead of putting the foot in front of you, you put it behind you. And he was like talking about taking me out of this world and all. I mean, he got fucking vicious, and I was like, you just threatened my life because you didn't realize that you could put your foot behind you when you move it.
How dare you quote Basic Anatomy to me, you absolute bitch.
I was like, okay, that's enough internet for me today. You know, sometimes, I mean, you're right. You can just block people, and that's what I've learned, and I have been utilizing it very well. You don't have to put up with the shit that you don't want to put up with, and that's a beautiful thing. And I think that it's hard to remember that in the moment while your life's being threatened and you're being called a Walmart cryptozoologist, but you know, you don't have to be exposed to that kind of negativity.
I'm be real though, like sometimes people be saying some shit and I'm just like, that's brilliant, like thank you for that. I'm gonna use that myself actually. No, the one time I had this dude, right, and like he just got really aggressive. I did this No Nuance November paranormal edition like 2 years ago, and he commented like 17 times. He was just going at me. He's like, so you're saying that this creator and then this creator, that their videos are fake? And I was like, well, that's really the burden of proof's on them. If they want people to believe and understand what is happening and like believe that this is a poltergeist, they should probably let people come in and check it out, like generally speaking. And then he's like, are you saying that you don't like the Warrens? And I was like, that's a whole separate conversation that we don't need to get into right now. And then he was like, are you saying that there's no such thing as demons? And then he got really vicious with me about it. I was like, my guy, did somebody not hug you today? Yeah. Because I'm not sure what's happening with you right now. And I eventually just had to block him because he just wouldn't stop. And I was like, never, like, if I get like somebody's going like at it, I'm like, I'm not the person that's going to be like, oh, no, I'm very like, all right, well, yeah, I hear what you're saying, but like, that made no fucking sense.
But also shut the fuck up.
Literally check yourself because you're literally wrecking yourself right now.
Everybody watched it. It's so embarrassing. I like to use that a lot. That I did with that one guy. I was like, wow, that's really embarrassing.
Oh my God, that's so embarrassing.
Like, you don't know that you can lift your foot up behind your body. Like, that's embarrassing.
Like, you know, there's some like, man, there's some things you just shouldn't put on the internet, like you not knowing how knees work. Like, shit, man.
It's super embarrassing for you. I feel so sorry. You know, it's hard. It is hard because I do want to be a petty bitch a lot of the times, and but also I'm a representation of myself, and so if other people see me, I don't want people with genuine experiences to think that I am not receptive to them because I am calling somebody else out on their bullshit. Like, and so I try to be careful about where I place these things so that way people understand that, like, just because I'm calling out that guy because he doesn't know basic anatomy doesn't mean that I don't believe that you had an encounter with whatever you had an encounter with. Like, it's not the same thing.
Oh, I mean, I could go into a professional opinion about somebody asking me for a professional opinion,
Right.
but when I'm approaching that, I'm never going to devalue what your experience was. If anything, I'm going to
Exactly.
be like, you had this experience, whether or not, like, whatever I'm looking at here is what it is. I believe you first.
Right. Exactly.
But
You, whatever it is, whether it was something explainable or not, you believe that this is what it is. So it's real to you.
exactly. Like, that's the difference, though. We don't have to be like, oh, well, this is not an orb, you absolute fucking noodle. This is a fucking dust speck. Jesus Christ. Has your mom
Right.
ever even told you she loved you? What are you thinking? And then you don't do that shit, man.
Right.
You
Exactly.
gotta be thoughtful when you approach people. When people are
Mhm.
going out of their way to approach you and they're like, hey, like, I got this. Can you give me some opinions on that?
Yes.
And you're like, hell yeah, man. Like, how would you like me to look at this? How would you like me how would you like me to receive this information? And
Right.
what kind of opinion exactly are you looking for here?
Right.
And I'm
Right.
always going to be nice. Like, I'm never going to be like, why are you sending me shit? Like, I love it when people send me stuff. I've gotten so many fucking wild pictures. Oh my God. But they're like, is there a ghost in this? And I'll like look at it and be like, Jesus fucking Christ. I've never
Yeah.
seen this shit a day in my life.
I've gotten some really horrifying stuff, and it's super. It is scary, and they always send it at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, why did you do this to me? I'm trying to go to bed, and but no, but I've gotten stuff like Starlink is a big one. I get pictures of Starlink all the time. Oh my God, I saw a UFO. It was right over my house, and it's Starlink. And and then I say that no, it's just it's just Starlink. Here's the link to the tracker. Here's so you can find where it was over your house at that time. Like, it's no big deal. Some of them. Some people do get upset and they're like, oh no, it's not Starlink because it just disappeared. And I'm like, clouds, my friend, but okay. And or whatever. And but I just kind of just go off. I'm like, well, that's what I think it is. It looks exactly like that. It was at your house at that time. So I don't know, it's up to you.
It's
But I
ring
will
cameras
have
too. Yeah.
well, right. I will have people that that will have, they're grateful for it because honestly, they don't want to be horrified. I had a guy who was showing me a picture. The most recent kind of paranormal picture I got was a light was on, like his window. There was a light there, like it was on inside the house, and he was taking a picture outside, and he just showed me a zoomed in portion of it, and it clearly looks like the light's on. He's like, well, the thing about it is that there's no light on, but also there's like a curtain there. So the window's not open at all for you to see that much light. And I was like, huh, interesting. And I was like, why were you taking the picture? What was happening? Was something happening at the time? Did you see this with your naked eye and you took this picture? Then he sends me the unzoomed version of it. And what I see is that it's kind of dusk out. And right there where his camera is, there's a street light. This is a lens flare.
Yeah.
A very cleverly placed lens flare. And I was still like, you know what? At the end of the day, you believe what you believe. But if I were to have a guess as to what this is, I genuinely believe it's just a light coming off the street light there, bud. And he was very cool about it. And that's it's good when people are cool about it. But you have to be careful. You have to say it in a way that you're not going to offend somebody, because at the end of the day, they're going to believe what they want to believe.
Oh yeah, no, I've one of the big things that I've seen a lot is like ring cameras, and they'll be like, look, there's ghosts walking in front of this person's house. And I was like, I see why you would think that, but let me explain what like shutter speed is.
Right.
The way the person's walking versus the shutter speed, it makes it look like they're moving and they have no feet. And apparently when it comes to ghosts, they just don't have fucking feet. I don't know where that came from, but they'll be I always approach it as like, hey, like I can see why you would think that, but let me give you a little insight on what actually is happening here.
Right.
And there have been some things that I've gotten where I was just like, I've looked at it and looked at it some more, and then I was like, I don't know what the fuck this is.
Yeah.
And I've had to reach out to friends before because I'm just like, I can't find a reason for this. And then there's nothing more exciting to me than being able to reach out to the person that sent me the information and being like, I don't know how to I have no explanation for this.
Right.
That's my favorite thing to say. I have no explanation for this at all.
Yeah. You can't say it's a ghost, though. That's
no.
You can't
I have no explanation for this. Seems like you caught something really interesting there. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks for sharing.
Sharing is caring, and that's how we get evidence.
My inbox is always open, and then
Hmm.
you just kind of do the thing. Yeah, I've definitely got some really and I've gotten really horrifying stuff where other people have seen it and they're like, I don't see anything. And I'm like, oh, well, I don't know. I
Yeah.
definitely see something and it scares the shit out of me. So
I'm the one that's like, I'm like, oh, okay, so what were you doing before this picture was taken? Where's the light source coming from? What kind of camera did you use? Was it your cell phone? There's like 3,000 questions that I like to ask to kind of get a good bearing of what it is that we're dealing with here.
yeah.
And because that's what you have to like, that's not even something I just do. That's what you are supposed to do.
Right. Well, and that's what I tell people. Pictures are very unreliable. You need a story. So on social media, you'll get a lot of picture, right? This is a picture
Mhm.
of something anomalous. Okay, well, what was happening right before the picture? What was happening right after? Is this part of a video? Are there more pictures? Um, and a lot of people leave that part of the story out. They're just like, my cousin's sister, I guess, which is also my cousin, sent me this picture and I don't know what it is. And that's your story.
I had someone send me a series of pictures and they put like little captions of explanation of each picture of
Mhm.
like the lead up to the actual like picture.
That's awesome.
I was like, "Oh, I'm so fucking appreciative of you. Jesus Christ. Like thank you for clearing this up for me." And then they were like, and like you see like the light is there and then the light is blocked and then the light's not blocked anymore and I'm like, "Oh, that's really weird." And they were like they said like I edited it myself and this is what I saw. And I see it and I'm like, "Holy shit, that's a fucking guy." Like
That is a
in the
guy.
shadow, like it's a massive shadow, but like when you brightened it up, it was a figure of a person. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh shit, okay, well, let me take the original and I'm going to take it. I'm going to do the same thing and see if it's different. It
Yeah.
wasn't. And I was like, oh shit, all right, well, that's fucking terrifying. So
Yeah.
good job catching that. Have a great day.
No, I have like one that is like genuinely fucking terrified me. I don't get scared of a lot of things in this community.
Oh
When
yeah,
you do
no.
when you do what we do, it's you don't get scared a lot.
After a time when a ghost is like, I'm gonna get you, you're like, police.
Whatever, yeah, whatever. But I had this guy who had so he was well, he's not was he is a Native American, and he formed a really neat relationship with this girl, and she was experiencing some weird haunting something, and his mom would always tell him, just stay away from her, like, do not talk to the girl, you need to stay away from her, there's something terrible following her, you need to stay away from her. And he was really concerned. He wanted to know if I could help. Of course, I couldn't help. She was in another state. There's nothing I can do from another state. But they were like sending me pictures of stuff. And she was saying, like, well, it's always been around. It kind of leaves sometimes and it comes back, like you were saying. But it like peeks behind shit. So like the picture that she sent, she's in her living room and there's like the doorway to the kitchen and it's peeking through that doorway. And it's in a very well lit room. The kitchen's not lit up, but the living room is. And I can see this thing clear as day. Clear as day, I can see this fucking thing peeking around the corner. And I don't know. Every time I look at the picture, it scares the shit out of me. But I've showed other people and they don't see anything.
Really?
And I think that's fucking weird. And I don't know what to make of it. I've never really had that happen before. So I don't know. It's a weird picture. It's on my Patreon. If you guys want to go check it out, you can pay your little bit of money and go to the Patreon and go see it. But yeah, it's weird. So I don't know. I've never had that experience.
So there's this one EVP that I have that nobody actually hears what's in the EVP itself. And I do lend this to auditory processing things. Like some frequencies people just cannot pick up on. And I understand this. People have hearing loss. But so like you hear me talking and then in between a break of me speaking, you hear whistling. And then after I say a name and then you hear like a whistling of London Bridge is falling down in this like weird, loud, multiple voice ethereal sound. And I remember hearing that. I did not hear it at the moment. None of my live heard it at the time. And I was like, did I just straight catch this fucking shit? What the fuck? So I shared it on TikTok and all everybody heard was something they thought was a breath at the end that was actually me and not any of the whistling. And I thought like for a second, I was absolutely fucking losing it. So I'm like, is this just not in here? Am I making this up? Is my brain conflating noise? No, it's not. It's just some people just aren't hearing it, but it's so good. It's
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah.
That's one of the many whistled songs that I've got in that place.
Yeah. It's really, interesting when that happens. I don't know. But sometimes it does. Just, going back to my Mothman research, you have whole groups of people, whole entire groups of people. And all of a sudden Mothman appears and they only 2 people out of the 10 see it.
Really?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Some of the Chicago sightings that have been happening kind of to date. That's happening in the city with all these people around and nobody else sees it except for select people. So
that's so wild.
It is. It does seem to be, and there's other instances where this does happen, but it does seem to be part of the general strange phenomena where you have these entire groups that are experiencing. Only some people are experiencing it and others are not. So I just chalk it up to that. Maybe that's what this picture. Because in this picture, I can see a face. It's got long hair. It's tall and skinny. Nobody else sees it.
Wow. Yeah, I see that a lot too. There are also pictures where I was like, can you show me what I should be looking at?
Right. Yeah. And I've pointed out to people and they're like, no, I still don't see it. And I'm like, are you fucking blind? I don't.
Yeah. You know what? It's really like, if there's too much noise in the actual picture itself, if there's too much background noise in the audio, if there's too much of this, like I know, like with the way my brain processes things, like I look at everything.
Yeah.
So if you're telling me, do you see it? And I'm like, where's the red circle? I'm looking for the red circle. Right. And I cannot find it.
Give me a circle here. I need help. Yeah, I understand that.
But I also love those. I love those pictures on the internet where people are like they'll show you a picture and it'll be like a red circle, but you're like, there's nothing in the circle. And then your eyes just like train to a different direction. You're like, oh my fucking God.
Yeah. Oops.
Be like, oh, I was circling the bug, but did you not see that fucking clown standing in the corner?
Right. Yeah, it does. It'd be like that sometimes,
Yeah, no, it really do be like that out there. Like, it's so, like, evidence is so wild because there's so much equipment out there that you can use to like communicate and like get proof. And then at the same time, it all depends on who actually believes that works.
Yeah.
You know, there's some people that are very like, oh, we only use a very, very, very specific recorder that's actually from like 1985. And I'm like, do you know how fucking expensive that fucking thing is?
Right. No, thank you.
Be like, oh, do you have an Ovilus? And I'm like, do you know how fucking expensive that thing is? Oh, we only use SLS cameras. Do you know how fucking expensive that thing is? I'm over here and I'm like, I got these cat toys. I got them on Amazon for $7 whole.
Yeah.
And then
for 4 of them.
SBox, my computer that's so ancient, I'm raising it from the dead every fucking time I turn it on. And then my SBox, like my most expensive piece of equipment was the REM pod. I fucking hated that thing. It was so annoying. Like,
it is annoying, yeah.
It like I did a scientific idea of like how it actually fucking works, and I could not still figure out how it actually works.
Yeah, I understand. You definitely sink a lot of money into these things sometimes, and it's like, why? For what?
I'm a big proponent of, you can start with as little as like $100.
Oh yeah, absolutely you can. I was looking, I'm like, I need to get some mag lights because ghost hunting isn't my forte. I will go and investigate paranormal places. I'll go just for the fun of it. Like, fuck yeah, I'll go to Bobby Mackey's, but I'm not there because I'm like super interested in the science of that aspect of the phenomena. But and then I'll go if it pops up in my research, or like there's a haunted area that happens to be in an area that I'm already researching, yeah, I'll check it out. But so I don't have a ton of things, but I was like, man, I need to get a mag light, and I'm looking on Amazon and like $20. I'm like, holy shit, dude, that's crazy. That's expensive.
I've had the same recorder since about 2020, and I paid like $89 for that recorder, and you bet I'm gonna use that thing till it fucking dies.
Like, yeah.
My SBox, I love my SBox. It was $189.
Yeah,
and I use that thing like it is my job.
Oh gosh.
And then Phasmabox is great because it actually speaks out loud. And I know like I'm really fucking picky with apps and stuff because people will be like, I use GhostTube, and I'm like, that's cool. They give me all these different like things to look at.
Yeah.
The only app that I ever found that I actually really liked because it actually would respond in a topical way was this one called Perilous, but it's only for Android, and I have Apple products because I am definitely an Apple girl. But it used to say, like, we would sit by certain places, and it would say things that were very true to like SBox responses we got from that same
Mhm.
person at different times. And it was also like, it would also do things like when my friend scared herself because she picked up the REM pod and it went off and she forgot that it was on, and the paralyst goes, idiot.
Oops.
And when we were sitting by the nasty priest that actually hates my fucking guts there at the cemetery that I used to investigate, like if we put the paralyst there, it would be like, fear me, Jesus, God, go to church, and stuff like that.
Wow.
So I was like, well, this thing might not be actually like, I don't know. It's hard to say because like
significant, yeah.
apps. But then like we've used other apps. We've tested apps out in the field.
Yeah.
And it's been like we were using one. I don't even remember what the app is called, but we were using it and it gave us the same 5 words. And then my friend used it at her house and it gave her the same 5 words. And then I used it at my apartment and gave it the same 5 words. And I was like, do I have an attachment, or am I, is this like, is there this guy that's like just walking around going stroke, died, sad, stroke, die, sad? I was like, I think that's the app. I'm gonna say it's the app.
It's just the app. Yeah, I have one on my phone, one, you know, Spirit Box type of app, and it is not on the market anymore. And I have an iPhone product, and I like it. It does. I think it works very well. But I use the Spirit Box differently. So I use it more in a synchronatic way rather than I'm going to talk to spirits type of way. So, you know, for me, it doesn't so much matter that they're able to communicate with me. It matters what comes through because the words themselves are supposed to be significant to the situation. And, you know, like you said, it depends on how you're using the equipment on, you know, for what you need.
That was something I actually talked about this on my TikTok briefly, and somebody asked me a question about it. It was like, do you think that sometimes investigators get what they want to hear? And I was like, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Because we're too aware. There are too many famous places that have too many stories. So it's not that you're going there for the experience and to like broaden your thought process and horizon and your evidence. You're going there because you know.
Right.
So you have expectations. You have something you're looking for. And that kind of ruins the experience for me overall. Cause like, I'm just going in there, like I go in cold and I'm like, I have no idea what's going on, which I did when I went to the Gettysburg Orphanage, which was a absolutely huge motherfucking mistake because I was not prepared for what emotional trauma that was going to do to me because I had a small child.
Yeah.
And my friend who is an investigator was telling us the stories of this place. And I was just like, I'm going to fucking cry.
This is going to be terrible.
I had to leave for a minute and take a break because I was like, this is just a lot to deal with. Like, this is just too much. I should have probably checked into that part at least. But like, I always try to go to places cold, no history, no idea what's going on, and just go for it and see what happens. Because I think that makes the experience more authentic overall.
Yeah, because I mean, you don't have those expectations. I do a very similar thing actually when I have guests on my show. I was purposefully did not look you up, did not know anything about you until I had you on because I wanted to hear it from you.
Yeah, because that's probably a mistake on your part because I'm fucking crazy.
No, I promise you're part of the club here. It's fine.
Oh, cool. Sweet deal. So we're going to go to Bob Mackey's. Yeah, we're going to collab on this, right? Yes. I will live stream it. I'll put it on my YouTube channel. And then
I dress up like an alien and wouldn't let me do it. And
you dress up like an alien. I'll look like I came straight from the funeral and it'll be fine. Like we're going to have a good time. The demons are not going to know what to fucking do with our asses.
I want to go see the demon portal in the basement. That's my thing.
You know, I'm real suspicious about that, but like, we'll see how it goes.
Me too. But yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, watch me walk in there and be like, no, that's not demons.
Definitely not demons. They're gonna be like, we're demons.
Oh yeah, no. Can you imagine? I can't even imagine. Like, if I go on my TikTok and my YouTube, be like, so in my understanding, there are no demons here, and then them at the place be like, you absolute fucking bitch.
Bobby Mackey's is gonna sue you.
Yeah. They can fucking try, I guess. Like, welcome to America, sue me.
Right? They're gonna be like, you said we don't have demons and we do. That's what I was telling somebody. I was like, man, it's just a gimmick.
Hey, maybe I'll actually get to meet Zach Baggins then, and he'll be yelling at me in my fucking face.
Yes.
Goodness gracious.
It's a plan. We're gonna make it happen. We'll go to Bobby Mackey's. But
if the listeners here want to see us do like, you're gonna go like legitimate paranormal investigation, we're gonna go to Bob Mackey's. I'm so down for it. I like to travel. I'm willing to travel to go to places. I'm so here for it. If you guys want it, please just let us know. Yeah,
I mean, I'm absolutely here for it. I want to go. I want to go so bad. Like I said, I want to see the demon portal drain, and I am going to challenge them to be scary. I guess. I don't know.
I'm ready. My body is ready.
We'll make it happen. So obviously I can talk to you forever, literally for the rest of my
I know
life.
I'm fucking incredible, right? I know.
And it's great. I've been telling everybody that comes on the show, I'm like, we're gonna be best friends. You watch.
Well, that just
And
means
so
I got to come
far,
back at some point. We can talk about something completely different. Let's talk about Bigfoot and aliens, cryptids,
we can absolutely. We can
and
talk
then
about-
giant squid and why people be wilding all the time. Like, Jesus Christ.
yeah, absolutely, anytime. And then if you want me to come on and tell my Mothman story, I will.
Oh my God, yes. I would love to have you like to do something for my like YouTube. That would be absolutely amazing. Or you know who would love you? My TikTok audience would fucking die.
I have not jumped on that bandwagon yet, and everybody says I need to, and maybe I need to. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
We've done it via audio before, but back before TikTok used to do the split screen lives where you could join with somebody to do a live. We used to just be like, all right, we're talking through audios today. Awesome. Let's go.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, no, if I want it to happen, it's gonna fucking happen.
Oh.
I got it. I can figure it out. I could do anything. I'm a woman.
I mean, I'm not opposed to going on video, but I just do a podcast because I don't have to put pants on, and so it's nice.
Yo, that's totally understandable. I always look pretty from the waist up, but down I'm wearing pajama bottoms like
constantly, right? Nice.
But I've had a really fantastic time. This was really great. Like, it's so cool to talk to somebody that's like into it and is not taking it as seriously as some other people are, and like just having fun. Like, this was really great. I really appreciate you. I really appreciate people being like, we want Catherine to come on. And I was like, oh shit, what did I do?
I think it's because clearly they thought you would be a good match for the show, and I agree with them. Yay, so I mean,
friends forever.
No,
I'll send my ghost to talk to your ghosts, and we'll coordinate for another time.
Yeah, sounds good to me. Where can people find you?
So you can find me on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. I also have a Patreon, and you will find all of that under officially_Catherine. I'm like just posting as much as possible. I post exclusive content on my Patreon. So if you want to get lessons on paranormal investigating or see things before they happen or know all the cool stuff that's going on, that's the place to be. YouTube is great. And I'm just here. I do lives all the time on TikTok. I go on live paranormal investigations. Like, you are welcome to come and hang out. We are a great crowd of people. We're going to make jokes. It's going to be great. We're going to have a good time. Rave in the grave. It's cat ball toys. Let's do it.
And then, of course, everything I'm going to go ahead and put in the description, all the links to everything that you can find Catherine on. And you already know where to find me if you're here, so I don't need to give you guys that spiel. But yeah, thanks again for coming on, and I'll see you guys back here next Wednesday.